Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Agostino's English Show, episode number 977. 977 of the Agostino's English Show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere in the depths of East London. How you doing? How you feeling? How you doing? How you feeling? Great, good, amazing to hear. Great, good, amazing to hear. It's the great locking of December. We're out here flipping, pushing the pedal to the metal, doing as much as we can within these winter, cold, dreary months. Over here in London, the weather is absolutely disgusting. I'm not going to lie. The weather is absolutely disgusting. I don't want to be a weather guy. I don't want to give weather updates. I am no, who's that guy on the TV? Was it Fish? Whatever that person was. They used to read the radio. You know how read the radio. That used to that used to do the weather reports and shit. Maybe nowadays kids watch the weather because there's usually a lot of baddies on there, right? Doing the weather. It's kind of become like a platform for a lot of attractive women to kind of do their thing and boost up whatever they're doing, get on a platform and maybe signify what they do. I actually have seen this lady. I forgot her name. There's a blonde lady that went kind of viral on my timeline. A blonde lady who's very muscular, who's kind of becoming famous too for reading, for doing the weather, presenting the weather. She's got really, really muscular arms, and people seem to be really in love with her. So that seems to be a big thing. But regardless, weather's kind of boring. I know it, but please forgive me. It's absolutely disgusting out there. There's those, we have those like phantom puddles. Not sure if you guys have them in the where you're at. Maybe it's because a lot of our pavements are like, you know, dark colored concrete bricks and stuff, but we've got those phantom puddles that you can't see, so you don't know it's a puddle. So you're walking down the street, you're minding your business, you're on the way to work, on the way to a shop, on the way to wherever, and then you just step and you don't see it because it's a phantom puddle, because it kind of blends in with the concrete, and the next thing you know, your entire sock, the entire top of your foot, your entire toe box is absolutely drenched. It's horrendous. It's one of the worst feelings ever. It's one thing when you fall into a puddle and you can see it. It's another thing when you step into a puddle and you don't see it. You think you're walking into a regular road and boom, you're like, fuck, and it seeps into every part of your sock. It's absolutely horrible. So a load of that stuff is happening. Loads of just sludge, loads of cold weather, loads of whatever else it may be. The mood has definitely shifted. The vibe has definitely shifted. There's London is not really a happy wappy place anyway, but the smiles are gone. The smiles that I saw in the summer have long gone. No one's saying hi to anymore. People, if anything, are now running into their homes, running down the street like cockroaches. You know, when a room full of cockroaches and you turn a light on and they all fucking scatter. It's the same sort of thing people are doing when they see you out and about. No one wants to hang out. No one wants to yap. No one wants to do the whole stop and chat shit. Big up Larry David. Everyone wants to go home, get under their duvet, get in front of their electric heater, wrap up warm, put on their PJs. They don't want to see anybody, which I love personally, because I'm somebody that tries to limit the amount of contact I have with human beings anyway. I try to limit the amount of contact I have with human beings IRL anyway, but it is quite funny to see how quickly people are deciding to just run and duck for cover and run for cover. I flipping love it. One thing I do love about a new month starting is the books I'm going to read. So I've got two here I'm going to talk to you about and show you, or not talk to you about, just show you them, to be honest. When I finish them, I'll probably talk to you about them a bit more. The number one book I've got here is a book called Dopamine, Why Our Addictions to Pleasure is Causing Us Pain. It's called Dopamine Nation. Why Addiction to Pleasure is Causing Us Pain by Dr. Anna Lembeck, by Dr. Anna Lembeck, as you can see there. That's the book that I'm currently reading for the month of December. The back synopsis is as follows. We're a wired generation. In these fast-paced times, we are constantly bombarded by high reward, high dopamine stimuli. From texting to social media, food to drugs, gambling to shopping, we have become addicted to fleeting, distracting pleasures that are making us sick. In Dopamine Nation, psychiatrist and best-selling author Dr. Anne Lembeck reveals why our relentless pursuit for pleasure leads us to pain and what we can do about it. Bringing together cutting-edge neuroscience with the gripping real-life experiences from her clinical practice, Lembeck explores how contentment and connectedness are essential tools in keeping dopamine in check. This is an essential book for anyone wanting to find a balance for a happier life. And I don't know about you people out there, I'm trying to find a balance to a happier life. So check this book out. I really do recommend it. This is something I'm going to be reading month for December. Of course, I'll give you guys a review at the end. And then the other book that I've got here is a book about Lou Reed. A book about Lou Reed by this author called Will Hermes. Will Hermes, Lou Reed, as you can see, one of my favorite artists of all time. The back synopsis of this is as follows. Since his death in 2013, Lou Reed's living presence has only grown. By the way, one of the best Supreme photo tees as well in recent history. You know, Supreme photo tees haven't hit the same way, but I think Supreme photo tee of Lou Reed from back in the day was very underrated. I think people are loving it now because obviously of his passing. But that Supreme Lou Reed t-shirt was kind of overlooked. Didn't get the respect it should have got. But big up Lou Reed. RIP to the great one. Since his death in 2013, Lou Reed's living presence has only grown. As the lead singer of the Velvet Underground and renowned solo artist, Lou Reed invented alternative rock. In Lou Reed Kings of New York, veteran music journalist Will Hermes offers a definitive narrative of Reed's life, legacy following from the Lower East Side Coldwater Flats to the eminent status he later achieved. We witness his complex partnership with David Bowie, Andy Warhol and Laurie Anderson, and explore the artistic ambition and self-sabotage that took from his mentor Delmore Schwartz, all the while hearing the story of the New York City as a cultural capital. As the first biographer to draw from the New York Public Library's Reed archive, as well as previously unheard recordings and wealth of recent interviews with Reed's contemporaries, Hermes gives us a new Lou Reed, a pioneer writing about non-binary sexuality, gender identity, committed artist who has pursued beauty and noise with equal fervor, and turbulent man whose emotions imprint endures. So I'm really looking forward to getting through both of those books. If you've ever wondered how I get my book recommendations, what I usually do actually, I'll make my wish list public. I might make my book wish list public because I'll get some DMs, people asking me for recommendations of what books to get and buy and shit. But what I usually do, because I listen to a ton of pods and I'm always fucking on social checking out things, I'll usually save things. I'll usually save recommendations, or if somebody mentions something on an interview, I'll put it on my wish list and I just kind of compile them. At the end of the month, I'll just pick whatever I can afford. If I want to buy, like, I don't know, 3 books for fucking £30, I'll just pick whatever I can afford with no real rhyme or reason and just kind of go from there. I try not to get into any paralysis by analysis thing, which people do sometimes get, thinking, oh, maybe I should get one non-fiction, this, that, one fiction. So I don't think about it too much. I just have a wish list, and it's sometimes if I'm really struggling to pick, I'll just sometimes pick like 10 and put them into a randomizer and tell me to select 3 and just go from there and figure it out. Even if it has to pay more money, I'll just figure it out. I don't want to fucking have the first hurdle of, because reading is already hard as it is, especially because I'm so tethered to my phone these days. In the past I used to read a lot easier, but nowadays it's a bit more of an effort. So I don't want to make it harder by giving myself, you know, too many options or being crippled by the options. So whatever I see, as long as it's something that sounds good, I'll buy it and then go. And also I'm kind of one of those readers too that believes in the philosophy or the ideology of, if a book is boring, just dump it. You know, if you're not liking it, you're not reading, it's not going well, just dump it. I don't believe you just always push through and read. And no, you can't, because you can't really fast forward on a book either, like a TV series or a movie, which you can maybe push forward. So if you're not really feeling it, just abandon it and just continue reading the thing that you actually are enjoying, because you'll then see that you probably will be focusing a lot more on it. You'll get a lot more out of it, and maybe the dumping that first book will maybe refine your taste, refine your options of what you want the next time around. So yeah, that's what I usually do when it comes to reading. So I'm really looking forward to grabbing those. I'm really looking forward to grabbing those, devouring them, and then giving you a little review at the end when I do finish up reading them, innit? Because that's all well and good. But people nowadays, I've heard what they're doing, especially some of these kids. I've heard some of these kids, what they're doing is that they're just grabbing the book and putting them into OpenAI. Because nowadays, I think most people know that you can just, you know, you can rip books. You can get books on like torrents and stuff, right? Whether it's an audiobook or whatever. And I'm assuming if you just like drag and drop that into a fucking OpenAI, or sorry, ChatGPT, and ask for a summary or roundup, or give you the kind of, you know, overall synopsis of each chapter in less than 500 words, you can get it if you want to, or maybe even less. So kids nowadays aren't even reading. I did see this tweet that went viral at one point. a few months back where there was, I think it was a college teacher, sorry, some white guy. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. He's in class, right, and he's doing the whole thing that teachers do where they don't record the kids. He just got the camera pointing to himself, and he basically says, "Hey guys, the assignment is an essay," and I think he only asked for like 5 paragraphs. I swear to God, I think he only asked for 5 paragraphs, and the kids were like, "No." They were so pissed off, and I was like, fuck, these kids are so lucky. They don't have to. I'm guessing by the way that they were shouting and being shocked and stuff and annoyed, it's something that they either don't like to do or something they don't do usually anyway, or maybe both. But in school when I grew up, it was like essays were a requirement. You know, sometimes you were required to write an essay in with like a week's notice. You know what I mean? Week's notice with references and citations and all that malarkey. Especially if you were in a higher set, you were effed if you were writing an essay, because a lot of the brainier kids will just be writing words for the sake of writing words to sound intelligent or to appear intelligent. So you have to battle with those kids who would come with fucking binders full of paper, and that'll be their essay. Essays were like an integral part to kind of gauge where you were in the kind of academic kind of scale. So nowadays, like, kids don't have to do all that. ChatGPT's basically nullified essays, right? It can write you an essay. I'm sure there are clients out there that you can use that can write you an essay in your voice. I'm sure that exists, right? You can input something that you've wrote yourself from the ground up, and it can just start to like give you, you know, an essay that you might have wrote in your own voice, but you obviously didn't write it. So big up the kids out there in school who are fucking, you know, figuring out ways to get around working, because who really wants to work out there? Who really wants to work? I know not me. Continuing on, talking about reading, right? Talking about reading, big up this user called, what's her name? Her name is called Lei Chan or Lee Shan. Big up Lee Shan. Predictions market, bring in truth on chain, UMA protocol, ecom alumni, UBC, blah 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 blah. Big up this lady. She posted this picture which I thought was fucking great. It went viral on my side of social media. It got like 6.8 million views on Twitter. The caption says, "I'm so fascinated by men like this. He read the brutality of modernity on a 10-hour flight with a map on the whole time." And to me personally, I feel like this is the ultimate flex. This is something that I can't wait to do. The picture that you see is this lady taking a picture of somebody on a plane who's just reading this incredibly thick and dense book, which I also have on my wish list. Again, this is another way you get recommendations. Someone mentions a book like that, you just kind of copy and paste the title, put it into Amazon, add to your wish list, and just keep it moving, you know? Or you can just buy it right there. But anyway, she's taking a picture of this guy who's reading, you know, this really dense book on the flight, and all he has in front of him is just the fucking glare, the light of the screen that shows the map, which is really good because you don't really get that on European flights. But that transatlantic map that you get on the screen that you can watch movies on, it's so fun. I always have it on to kind of track where I'm going. It's kind of nice as well when you're on the long 10-hour flight and you have a bit of a nap and you wake up and then you're realizing, oh shit, we're getting closer. It's kind of cool to kind of see. And it kind of reminds me also of when like Google Earth first came about. I remember I used to love Google Earth. I'd be literally like, this sounds really lame and really fucking pathetic, but I'd be using Google Earth as a way to kind of travel around the world, to see all these different sites, you know, all these different fucking places that I've kind of heard about in books and movies and whatever else it may be. It was fucking fascinating. But I do really miss that site. I wish I remember what the site was back in the day we used to use, where it would kind of give you a live feed of all these CCTV cameras all around the world. And you could see a CCTV camera of some square in Zagreb, of some fucking, you know, the outside of a shopping mall somewhere in fucking Zurich, like all these random places. And sometimes on a Friday night, you'd see like fights and stuff. It'd be fucking hilarious. Anyway, all this to say, this might be one of the most prime reading situations ever. Like on a plane, it's the best. Like, and I'm somebody that's kind of battled, because when I sometimes take a long plane, even if I'm going to Europe, sometimes I'm one of those losers that even if I'm going on like a 2-hour, 3-hour European flight, I would load my laptop up with movies, load my laptop up with TV series, load my laptop up with PDFs and I don't know, anime stuff and manga and whatever. I'll just load my laptop with loads of shit. When I get on a plane, guess what happens? And unless I'm, you know, in the mood, I probably won't even pull out my laptop. Or if I do, I'll watch one thing. Like recently, what I've been doing is that if I've missed a bunch of football, I'll just load my fucking laptop up with like loads of highlights. I'd load it up with like a couple of match of the days I may have missed, a couple of European football roundups I may have missed, maybe some highlights of, you know, or maybe a UFC card. But by the time I get on the plane, I watch one thing and I'm already conked out sleeping. or I just, you know, can't bother to kind of be the person that has to get his laptop out, because these days in planes you can't have your laptop on you when the plane is, you know, about to take off. You have to kind of wait until the plane's in the air, then the fucking seatbelt sign goes off, then you have to get up, and, you know, just, I don't want to be a nuisance, so I just allow it. But the book is the ultimate, because a book you can hold in your hand the entire time, you can have underneath your feet, but as the plane is taking off, and it's the best time to lock in. Usually it can be a bit annoying if the person in your aisle is kind of jumping up and down, but you can really get through a book. And it reminds me a little bit, it reminds me a tiny incy bit of how I used to get through so many books when I was working like a regular 9 to 5, going into an office, you know, pre-pandemic, because I'd take, like, you know, most of my journeys were, let's say, anywhere between like 30 minutes to an hour, maybe let's say 40 to an hour, and that was one way, right? So basically in a day I'd have a journey door to door that was 2 hours. So imagine how much I was getting through books. So and I was that type of performative book reader where I'm reading while I walk. I was one of those performative book readers. Like, I was early on that reading while I walk. So I'll be getting in mad fucking time just reading books, which is no surprise why I was able to get through like 5 books legitimately a month. And not 5 books like reading it, skimming it, 5 books like reading it intently, remembering bits, annotating shit, like screenshotting stuff, crippling stuff, memorizing stuff. I was going crazy with it. But it was mostly because you got no distractions, right? You're walking on the way to work, you're on the train, anyone speaking, but the plane might be another sly place to go do it, because everyone's on their phone, everyone's looking at the fucking laptop screen or something. So having that ability to kind of cut yourself off from that sort of thing, and, you know, by reading a book, especially if you're a frequent flyer, I think it's kind of important. I think it's maybe a bit of a slay, and weirdly enough, it'll probably make you stand out a lot more. The whole if you're one of the type of people like I am, where you kind of like to show off with some of the stuff that you're into and kind of prove how much better you are than everybody else, because you've got, you know, insane levels of willpower and whatever else it may be, and dedication and focus and whatever, and tenacity, then just the mere fact of pulling out a book whilst you're on a flight and reading it is going to make you look like such a fucking freak in a good way. Such a fucking freak in a good way. So big up all my book readers out there, big up all my blood cut book readers on the plane. I kind of want to get on it, but it's also making me think, damn man, I used to get through a lot just by sitting there. But one thing I used to always do that towards the end during pandemic, actually, just to end it, because obviously, you know, I'm not going into a workplace like, you know, physically anymore. Everything's kind of being done on a fucking laptop nowadays from home. But one thing that I did remember I used to kind of do, which is kind of counterintuitive and sometimes a little bit performative and a little bit cringe, I sometimes go read in fucking bars, you know. Sometimes cocktail bars can be sly places where you can go read. Good music, the hum of people behind you can put in a weird sedative state, even with just a fucking light candle on the table. Like, reading in a cocktail bar is not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Like, legitimately, it sounds counterintuitive. I don't agree with reading on a cocktail table at the bar. I believe you should get a table for one, grab yourself a drink, sip that shit slowly, and just pull your book out of the cocktail table and read. It's maybe one of the sly harder things I've done in my life. It's kind of a bit of a flex. It's kind of a good place to go, and you'll get the opportunity to kind of visit all these random cocktail bars if you want. So I recommend it. If you are that way inclined. But again, when it comes to these sort of things, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Continuing on, let's talk about the main point of this particular pod. The main point of this particular pod is this tweet courtesy of Corteiz founder Clint419. So Clint419, I think for once said something not that inflammatory, not that crazy, not that out there, not that mischievous, not that whatever, feisty or whatever you want to call it, because somebody on Twitter decided to request or ask him the following question. You need to make it possible for us to pay with Klarna ClearPay at Clint. And he replied, quoted it and say, Corteiz will never use Klarna. If you don't have the bread, go grind and get it, but don't be going into debt for shit like clothes. Now, my initial reaction to this, right, which I was taken aback by other people's reaction, was this is actually a pretty good piece of advice. Because at the end of the day, I'd say the term, right? He's not really leaving money on the table, but let's just use the term, he's leaving money on the table. He's probably denying himself many more customers by not implementing things like Klarna or ClearPay into the fucking payment processing or whatever option at the end when you go and pay for your things. Now, I don't know if you can even choose that. I'm not too sure, because I think last time I remember fiddling around with Klarna, it's not as if like the store can choose those payments. You can just have the option to just Klarna things, on your end, kind of thing. I'm not sure if that's how it works, but I'm pretty sure there's an element of that. Like the store doesn't, even the store doesn't accept Klarna, you can still kind of use Klarna on the site and kind of break the payments up. I think that's how it works. Not too sure, so don't kill the messenger. Either way, if that's not the case, he could easily have a deal with them, implement something, integration, because he's got a great brand. He's got the attention of the kids. I'm sure Klarna would love to have him as a client or as a customer. So the fact that he's refusing to implement things like Klarna when it's so popular nowadays says a lot about him. And I think the message he's sending to the kids of like, hey, maybe just get your bread up and like buy the thing outright instead of buying it on a payment is a good idea. Because I remember recently talking to my friend Bobby actually about this when it comes to mobile phones, because for me, for most of my life, actually, I think all of my life, with the exception of maybe Nokia's back in the day, but for most of my life I've always had phones on contract, right? And that's the way I've been able to get like newer iPhones and shit. And even the iPhone 14 Pro Max I have now, I got that on a contract. But I remember my friend Bobby basically saying that he doesn't do that. He's one of those people that prefers, instead of having a contract that's tied to your phone, he just gets a SIM only contract, so he gets a better deal. I'm sure most of you guys know this. If you have a contract that's just SIM only and doesn't include the actual phone, the handset, you usually get better deals. And then what he does is that he pays for the phone outright. So he'll go to Apple and pay for an iPhone outright, which is like, I don't know, £1,000, whatever phone he wants. He'll just buy it. Which obviously, allows you to get, to keep maybe your monthly contract fees down. But then also you get like a brand new phone, of course, that you pay outright for. Obviously you have to make sure you get fucking insurance for it. But I'm assuming, this is a weird thing to say, but I think element wise, there's a bit of like looking after it, right? You'll probably end up looking after it a lot better if you spent £1,000 of your own money to purchase this phone. And just a mere act of buying something and owning it for yourself just feels a bit better, because contracts, you end up paying more for it anyway. So whatever my phone is worth, I'm probably going to end up paying 50% more on top for the phone, for the privilege of being able to pay for it bit by bit, month after month after month. So I don't mind what Corteiz said here about, basically, hey, we're never going to implement Klarna. Now, on the flip side of it, I have noticed that he does have a tendency to kind of, I'm not sure it's because he's young or because, this is just how he just operates with his brand. He wants to be an authentic character. There is a tendency for him to like talk to his customers like shit sometimes. He can be a little bit condescending. He can be a little bit he can be a little bit blunt for no reason, a little bit rude for no reason, a little bit feisty, like I said recently, which is an old word that probably people don't really use anymore. Probably is going to really date me like an unk and shit, but you know what I'm talking about. And I don't necessarily think it's a good reflection of him as a person, because if you watch clips of him, right? If you watch clips of Clint talking, like there's this page, I don't know if he manages this page, but there's this page that I found on Instagram called London RTW, London spelled LUNDUN, the way he spells it for Corteiz, where there's clips. It looks like, an assortment of random clips from Corteiz and stuff, but it also includes loads of like clips of him, like, giving motivational messages, and he comes across really well. So I don't really know why he goes out of his way to like talk to his customers like shit, when really in person he does seem like a cool guy. Like he comes across way better on these little video clips than he does on social media, on Twitter. But I'm not sure if he does the whole Twitter thing the way he does it because that's the platform and he wants to kind of, speak in that particular tone. But when you listen to him talk, like I'll play a clip here, right? Let me listen to him talk here. He comes across really well, I think. Let me play a clip. Let me play this one. This one says about consistency.
Thing to do is to be consistent, to wake up every single day. 2019, every single day I was going to the post office, I was shipping orders, I was waking up, I was doing designs, I was doing this, I was doing that. And in the short term, it didn't feel like much was changing, but when I look back 6 months before, I was like, raw, like so much stuff happened. But that's because I showed up every single day. You can't show up once a week. You show up once a week, shit ain't gonna happen. You go gym once a week, shit ain't gonna happen. If you go gym every single day, you're gonna see a difference in 1 month. And that's just the way it is with work, in life, in creativity, everything. You gotta treat it like, even when you're bored, you're doing shit. That's the thing that people overlook. If you're not staying on it, don't expect to be there. Don't expect to be on top. Don't expect to be reaping no reward, because that's just not how life works. Like life works when you show up every single day. Sometimes it'll feel hard. You feel like, why am I doing this? But when you get past that threshold point, that's when you're like, you know what, I know why I'm doing this. But even before you get there, you have to just know that you're gonna get to that threshold point. That's the most important thing. Like, one good year, that changed my life. That was consistency, that was me believing, that was just 1% better every single day. The hardest thing to do is to...
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just wondering, but I guess it must work for him because his business is thriving. Most of the stuff sells out. I see a bunch of kids. One of the brands I see on the roads a lot. I see people wearing Corteiz a lot. I see a lot of Corteiz. I see a lot of fucking Trapstar. I see a lot of Fear of God on the streets and stuff. But in terms of the UK brands, I think Trapstar and Corteiz have the streets of London in a fucking vice hold. But for some reason, the founder of Corteiz does seem to like to talk to his fans, his customers, the people that follow him. You know, there's a little bit of a condescending, dismissive, rude, whatever, you know, kind of tone that comes across there for some reason. Even though this advice is nothing wrong, but people on Twitter didn't really like it and it went kind of crazy. Some of the replies here, this person says, hey, so Klarna isn't credit, rather debited payments broken down into segments, making it more palatable for those who may have other responsibilities to handle but still want to support your brand and be fly. He said, I'm old school, I still don't fuck with it, but I appreciate you and anyone who wants to get fly. Just do it when you got it. Exactly. I definitely do agree. I don't agree with the idea, especially nowadays. Like, if you want you know, this is probably bad advice, but if you want Corteiz and you've got no money, you're better off buying reps than trying to split payments over, you know, trying to split a bolo jacket payment over 4 payments. Like, it's not worth it. You're better off just buying a rep of it. It's gonna stink. It might not be as warm. It might look a bit fugazi, but then just buying it will probably inevitably want you to buy the real thing when later down the line when you get your money up, to have that actual package come to your house, have the wrapping, be able to unbox it properly, wear it with pride in certain places. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Or if you don't have the money, just go and buy something H&M, buy something Uniqlo. It's not that deep. I mean, it really isn't. But somebody else is posting this helmet. Okay, bro, I guess this is another Klarna payment. Maybe they're calling you lame because you told them to be more financially responsible. Wait till Clint finds out what credit card is. Another person here says, love you, bro, but that's a flawed way of thinking. What's the difference with somebody using their high interest credit card to make a purchase, then falling into debt trap by making minimum monthly payments? TBN, Klarna is less predatory. Jesus, I'm surprised all these kids are really jumping and defending Klarna. I guess this goes to show that Klarna's become really important in maybe younger generations' lives and shit, because I'm assuming all these people are younger. I don't know if they are, but let's just say it's more important in people's lives nowadays because people generally don't have the money. They generally don't have the disposable income to afford what they see online, but they still want it. They still want to partake. But if it means that they can partake by splitting the payments, it makes sense, because even nowadays festivals do that too, right? Like, I'd probably be more happy with going on doing a fucking, you know, what's it called, payment plan or whatever, to split my payments and stuff with a festival ticket than I would be for some clothes. I'm actually wondering what will be the big first. I wonder what fashion brands out there are currently using Klarna and stuff. Like, does the Row use Klarna? Because the Row's prices are crazy. Does the Row use? I don't think so. Does Balenciaga use fucking Klarna? Will Yeezy start using Klarna, right? For $20 jackets, will Yeezy start using Klarna? I wonder, man, but I'd much rather spend that with a festival. It's still a bit stupid, to be honest. Like, you know, just save the money. Nowadays, especially festivals, they have early bird things. Some festivals actually have a payment plan already inbuilt with their payment system. I know Primavera have that, where if you want to apply for a ticket that's lower, or no, you can just pay for it earlier. You can apply for it. You can pay for a ticket that's way cheaper than the retail general population one's gonna get. But I don't mind his message here. The Corteiz guy says the Burna Boy of clothing, cancellation pending. See what I mean? So I think people are really not fucking with his arrogance, but I think Clint's arrogance kind of is what makes a brand, though, isn't it? You know, because he's got a real personality, and he's probably one of the there's not many of them, I don't think, especially in that space. There's not many of those kind of founders who are really, like, you know, talking about their brand. And one thing I like about him is that he wears his brand. Like, there's not a lot of founders out there that wear their own garments. Like, it's kind of weird. I don't really understand that, but especially, you know, post fucking Virgil Abloh death, you don't really see a lot of founders who are actually the biggest fan of their own work, like how Virgil was. He'd always be wearing his own shit, talking about it a million times. I think one of the only people I think that does it a lot actually is maybe Tyler the Creator, slightly. Tyler the Creator is actually a good you know, representative of his own brand. And you know who also is a good one, actually, I came to mind just now? Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber with his shit, and what's it called, Skylark or whatever, right? I feel like he's a really good representative and model for his own brand. Obviously, you got people like George Heaton from Represent and stuff, but you know that's not what I'm talking about now. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like the internet is turning against Clint. Another person says here, at first I read and thought that what a prat, but you know what? You're right. People need to spread their net. People need to spend within their means. Credit debt for drip is such a poor mentality. But that's the problem though, isn't it? It's all well and good saying people should spend within their means, but social media makes those things hard. It feels like everybody, especially if you're a young kid now, it feels like everybody around you is like rich or is like enjoying their lives, doing what they want to do, right? Going on holiday, going to festivals, driving fast cars, wearing cool trainers, going to, you know, really amazing and cool events and gigs and whatever else it may be. So if you're a kid, you want to partake now. You don't want to wait until you get your money up. You want to take part in whatever's happening in culture right now. And I guess Klarna and all the type of payments, they give payment options, providers, whatever, credit providers, they give you an option to partake in culture right now. Obviously, you pay the price at the end. Maybe, who knows, if you manage your finances properly. But it does give people the chance to participate. So telling people not to participate when that's what Uber's been pushed on fucking social, and everyone's kind of taking part in it and you're not, it's kind of hard. Another person says, I'm pretty sure Klarna is interest free for buyers. They make money on fees that they charge the e-commerce vendors. This guy is doing too much, waffling too much. Just put Klarna on like everyone, other brand, little bro. In other words, he doesn't want to broke people wearing his brand. You see what I mean? No one's liking this, man. You don't get to choose. If a nigga visits your website of Klarna app and orders, he definitely getting your gear and paying it for over 4 months. Even though I don't doing anything or whatever, some facts, great message. All of this over some Sheen clothes. Jesus Christ. Can't 100% better than credit cards. Then I think the quote tweets are probably even worse, right? Because usually people go off on the quote tweet. So the quote tweets, I'll go in debt for some Balenci's, never for an IG brand, allow it. I get the message, but if you accept credit cards, this is complete air. Another person says, I used to love your brand and half of my wardrobe is from Corteiz, but I've stopped buying ever since you made fun of that security guard for wanting a free shirt at your event and your consistent dumb takes on social media. Stop ruining your brand by being yourself. LMAO. Jesus Christ. And this also brought me on to one of the things that I remember from him. I was like, you know what? Did you need to say that really? Like, this is a good example, right? I think it's about the model. I think I might have it here. There we go. Yeah. It was about modeling. So Clint made this post, right? This is last year. I don't know why I remember this, but I remember reading this at the time. I was thinking like, why would you say that? So he made this post in July of last year. He said the following. A brother messaged me off a private account with a blurry display picture and 5 followers and say, let me model for you. Let me model for your brand, bro. Side note, love your sons, lie to them even. Too many niggas want to be models for validation and compliments and get paid peanuts. We need more skilled workers. So essentially, you can tell what he's talking about, right? Like somebody messaged him from a burner account on Instagram, one inquiring about modeling for his brand, because it seems like, you know, he kind of hires maybe friends or cool people on the street. I don't know how he does his casting, but there seems to be usually a random assortment of models usually for his brand. He might have a few that he kind of keeps, you know, along the way, but usually it's a random assortment that kind of look cool in clothes and shit. So I don't think it's a bad question, because it doesn't look like all those people are his friends. I don't think every single person that models for Corteiz are like his personal friends, but it does look like there may be people maybe associated in his orbit, or people he maybe just found on the street and stuff, or bumped into an event. I don't fucking know. But I don't necessarily think that person's message on Instagram warranted this sort of tweet or this reply or whatever, you know? I don't know. Maybe he replied in a softer tone or in a nicer tone via the DMs, but I'm not really too sure if somebody just inquiring about modeling requires this kind of like patronizing, go and get a trade, learn how to learn a trade, all this stuff. It's like, but how about if that person is also learning a trade but also wants to model for you on the side, or just wants to inquire about how to get into it? You don't have to give them the lowdown. They could Google it, I'm sure, but this sort of like condescending reply and message back is a bit unnecessary, you know? I remember when I saw this, I was like, I don't know why he does this. Why does he go out of his way to be like rude and a bit like, you know, whatever? I wouldn't even say this is rudeness. It's just unnecessary, you know? You can still answer the question whilst getting across your point of like, hey, I would love it if my followers weren't so enamored about the modeling. This is not the most important part. This is the brand. Obviously get it if you can afford it, but I want to inspire my followers to kind of go for their dreams, whatever it is. Not everybody has to be an MC. Not everyone has to be a brand owner. I don't know. There's a way you can say it that doesn't come across like this. Maybe he would say, I'm waffling, right? The way I'm saying it is just adding too many words, and he's just kind of get to the point, and that's what he's doing. He's getting to the point. Everyone kind of understands what he's getting to. I just think nowadays with brands, especially with him, his personal brand is tied, it's kind of linked to Corteiz. He kind of has to be very careful that he doesn't turn people off, because the problem with a brand like Corteiz is that if you turn people off personally, they're not going to want to wear the clothes because the clothes are you. So, and I've had that experience myself. I kind of mentioned this ad nauseum on this particular pod about my one really dumb, bad interaction I had with the Palace founders back in the day when they first started that completely turned me off from the brand. And to be fair to them, that was just an anecdotal thing. It was just a minor thing. I could have been in the wrong. Who knows if I remembered it correctly. It's a fucking stupid reason not to wear a brand. But unfortunately, it did affect the way I looked at the brand. And I couldn't wear it the same way again because of that one solo bad interaction that I had. I guess the only way you can avoid it is if you divorce your personal brand from the brand. Like nowadays, I don't think there's many people that probably even know who the founders of Palace are. I don't think they could probably point them out if they saw them in the street. So I think they did a good job of maybe separating their personal brand or them entirely, their personality from the brand, so that you could just buy the clothes without maybe falling in and out of love with the founder. That will then affect the way that you look at the clothes. I'm not too sure, but I don't know. I'm just wondering why he seems to do this. Won't accept Klarna but accept credit cards. Another one says real reason Klarna is Klarna take a cut from the sale and not the customer. LMAO. Might be the dumbest shit I've ever read in a business owner. Somebody else says this nigga so fucking annoying, pretentious ass nigga with weak ass clothes. This is corporate social responsibility at its finest. Somebody else says a lot of Corteiz target audience is people between the ages of 14 and 25 who don't have financial literacy or independence. Fair. Another person says the concept of shedding blood. But that's the thing though. I think people are saying, I don't know if this is true, people are basically saying that Klarna is maybe a better way to actually purchase clothes because you get to break up the payments across free. You don't have to pay any extra fees. The fees go to the seller, allegedly. That's what they're trying to say. I don't know. I just think coming where I come from, I think the idea of like getting your quote unquote money up is something to aim for. You should maybe spend within your means. So if you've got money that you can only afford H&M, if you've got money that you can only afford Prime, like even H&M is more expensive than Primark. If you got money where you can only afford Primark and like vintage clothes and secondhand clothes, do that. Then as your earning potential, as your earning ability increases, then you can maybe afford to spend some more on some clothes. If you care about that sort of stuff. I think if you don't care about clothes, don't increase your spending. Just keep it as tight as you can. We're living in dark days right now. Don't go fucking crazy. But if you care about clothes, I think there is a really good feeling about earning more and then finally being able to afford X, Y, and Z, as opposed to earning like, I don't know, the equivalent of like 20 grand a year, but then Klarna-ing a pair of Balenciaga, a pair of fucking Gucci shoes. It's like, I'd rather buy my fucking shoes from Clark's while I'm making 20 grand a year, and then as I kind of start earning more little by little, when I can finally afford those fucking Gucci loafers, then I go and fucking purchase them. But everyone's different, I guess, isn't it? The concept of shedding blood and sweat and tears for money and spending it on Corteiz, laughing meme there, accepts credit cards. Rest assured his fans will continue to brown nose him even though he's very obviously a cunt. Another person says Corteiz in 2025. This is in French. Another one says here, while I hate Klarna, it's actually cheaper for your customer base. They must likely have credit cards balances which they're paying in high interest rate already. Free split payments with no interest is no brainer if used responsibly. Never seen a more insufferable brand. Every time I see this nigga on my timeline, he's pulling boo-boo out of his ass and smearing it on the keyboard. It's amazing to me. I'm a Klarna, a trap star jacket at 018 the 9th incoming. Sorry, bro. But you accept other credit facilities, so it's not actually really about this. People have made it trendy to hate Klarna, but they are no different to your credit cards, PayPal, and credit cards. I can't believe there's so many people out here defending Klarna. It's actually interesting. I actually respect this a lot. Klarna is encouraging terrible spending habits, and its business model is no different from loan sharks. We need to stop trying to buy luxuries we can't actually afford. Another person says, I'm sorry I'm sorry, I'm with Clint on this. Young people are getting themselves into debt with these pay later apps, which accrue debt if not paid on time, and can eventually affect your credit. Using them or for all your unnecessary things like Ubers, delivering clothes. Yeah, but that's, to be honest, you're a fucking dum-dum if you're fucking Klarnering your Uber Eats deliveries or your Ubers and your Deliveroos and your come on, like that's ridiculous. I think you should be saving these type of things for like big payments, not fucking Five Guys and shit. Like that's fucking insane. Won't accept Klarna but accepts credit cards. People arguing for Klarna ClearPay should get the taste of leather out of their mouths. I remember when this nigga tried to say he was a fashion nigga because he wore Corteiz, and I laughed and said, ain't that the nigga who always is getting clowned on Twitter? And the rest of the date was silent. Okay. Do you accept credit cards? You take payments by credit card though. So yeah, a lot of people are not really liking this personality. So I'm wondering if this will end up affecting the bottom line sales. I'm wondering. Y'all niggas be elitist losers. I'm not going to explain it further. So I don't know. I wonder why he does that. I'm sure he doesn't give a fuck, but he does seem to go out of his way to talk in a certain manner, a certain tone that seems to rub people up the wrong way, which I've kind of noticed. I'm sure he knows this as well. He doesn't probably give a fuck, but I also wonder if this is just a Twitter thing, because Twitter, is full of people that just want to argue, full of people that just want to get upset about something and get riled up. So maybe this isn't that big of a deal. I personally still think he's doing a good thing by encouraging his fans or potential customers to save up their money, to quote unquote get their money up and then be able to afford to buy it outright. But sometimes the way he says stuff can be a bit mad, and it can be a bit mad, but I guess it is what it is. Big up him though, in general, because there is a new drop of Corteiz stuff that just dropped the other day. Loads of really cool all black stuff that I recommend you probably check out. As you can see here, from like zip up hoodies with Corteiz on the front. Not too sure what's that, what's it say there? Oh, it's just it's a cardigan actually. That's actually, no, sorry, it's a knit hoodie. That's actually really nice. I also like the fact that he does double zips. Not a lot of brands do double zips these days, but I do like the fact that he does double zips. It's a nice way to kind of style your hood, to kind of be able to pull it up a little bit here. Yeah, I don't know, be able to kind of ventilate yourself as well a little bit. I kind of do like that. That's a really nice hoodie actually. It's like a knit it's like a knit basically hoodie, if you kind of can get that in your head. That tracksuit is fucking beautiful. That tracksuit right there is fucking gorgeous. It's got Corteiz coming across diagonally in this sort of like mesh print, and then it's also got Corteiz that wraps around the leg of the pants as well. I'm not sure if that's a drop crotch, that's just the way it's folded, but that's a beautiful, it almost looks like a nylon tracksuit, like a classic nylon tracksuit. You can't go wrong. So nose of less black stuff. I wonder if this is tied to Black Friday. I wonder, but it's a really nice collection. Most of it's black, if I'm not mistaken. There's a really cool flight jacket bomber that he's also made. That's got the Alcatraz logo embroidered on the back, also in black and tonal. There's a nice jumper here as well. No, another sweater too, actually. The front has screen prints of Rules of the World and, in different languages, I think, right? And then it's also got Corteiz on the back as well, embroidered, which is a nice little touch. There's another, is that another tracksuit? Oh, this is a really nice tracksuit, actually. I don't mind this at all. Look at that tracksuit with like the red zip pulls. That's beautiful. And I really like the paneling also on the track pants. The track pants have this like panel at the front, this really long sleeve, this really like, top to bottom seam. Oh, it's actually a zip. I take it back, it's a zip. So I wonder if that ventilates. I wonder if there's like mesh behind it. If you unzip that, I wonder if there's like a mesh behind the actual thing. That's actually really cool. I don't mind that in the slightest. Really fucking cool. Oh, that's actually nice, isn't it? It's a line. It looks like a liner. So you know what people wear now? It's really trendy nowadays. So I've got a couple of these with my No Native and This Never That jackets. They have a lot of these like jackets that have like liners on the inside, and this is like a liner that you can wear as a jacket itself separately, but it's covered in Corteiz Alcatraz logo in it as well, which is a really nice touch, really clever kind of flip. I like that. I've not seen that before, because I've got one exactly like this from No Native, sorry, that's in olive green, that just doesn't have the Corteiz logo. So it's a really clever little flip that someone did there. Big up the designer that did that. That's fucking amazing. I ain't mad at that at all. Another tracksuit. Again, loads of tracksuits for this collection. Oh, look at the back of that. This kind of reminds me of True Religion. I don't know what that print is called, but it's like a True Religion type of upholstery, right? A True Religion type of a pleat where you have the fact where you have the letter sign of stitched on top of another stitch, and it's tonal, sorry, and it's contrasting. That's a really cool little design there, but it definitely does remind me a little bit of True Religion. Another thing that I always love about Corteiz, I'm always gonna give them props for, is the fact that they don't have elasticated hems. No elasticated hems. I like that. It's just nice and flat, nice and straight. And I think some of them have like little strings that you can kind of pull, but most of it's flat like that. I'm not mad at it in the slightest. What's that? Oh, these are little scullies, right? That all the kids are wearing, random loads of scullies with Corteiz logo, right, with the star logo there. I ain't mad at that at all. And that's about it. And then obviously there's some model pictures too. Yeah, that tracksuit is heavy, man. So the Texas 3M, you can't go wrong with that. That's actually a really good idea as well. Texas 3M is wearing 97s that glow up in the dark. Oof, you can't go wrong. Oh, I didn't see that. Is that like a puff? What is that? Is that like a patchwork flannel thing? I didn't see that in the spread. That looks fucking sick. It's got the little Corteiz embroidery there too. That patchwork flannel is fucking great. Palace did one recently. Obviously Burberry did one back in the day too. There's that True Religion-esque type of tracksuit, the sweat one. That's the thing I was mentioning before. Oh, I don't like the material, to be fair. This particular tracksuit I like. I don't mind the style, but I don't like the material. The material is kind of ugly. It's almost like a nylon type of material, isn't it? I don't like that. It shines too much for me. What else do we have here? There's the flight jacket. Yeah, that flight jacket looks heavy. That flight jacket looks fucking hard. Again, this is all produced in-house, you know. This looks just as good as something you get from Alpha Industries in terms of a shape. Don't know whether it's going to be the same in terms of quality, fit, but this looks just as good as something that you get from Alpha Industries or from Scott. Like, big up fucking Corteiz for doing this all in-house, man. This is very impressive. Very, very, very fucking impressive. There's the other tracksuit, which I also didn't see. That's a nice one. Actually kind of reminds me a bit of Sean John. There, don't mind that also. And another tracksuit too with the sweat and the sweatpants. Not bad at that at all in the slightest. Oh, we got some denim as well. I don't mind the denim. The denim is actually pretty nice here. That logo, that's sort of like a flamenco logo, right? The one that's like a crest or whatever. That's actually looking, that looks really cool the way they've done it here. It's sort of oversized and it's covering the back pocket and covering the front pocket of this particular denim jacket too. That style of denim jacket, I forgot what the number is. Is it 101? I don't know what the number, the style of it is called in particular. I think I saw a couple of pictures of Nigo wearing a lot of these, but this is really nice as well. It's kind of a more of a sleek, simpler silhouette. Doesn't have the two front pockets, usually have only one on one side. And it kind of fits less boxy and bulkier as well. I don't mind that. It looks like raw selvage as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? So yeah, not mad at that in the slightest. There's a rugby top. Oh, I feel like everyone's doing this flipped this season, isn't it? Or just in general. I feel like there's so many shooter brands that have done a flip on this classic like rugby polo. Obviously the one I love the most is I think Mooloa's done one, right? I think her one's really fucking cool. But I feel like I've seen a lot of brands do their flip of the classic rugby polo. That's a really nice one as well. With the crest, number 18, Corteiz there. I'm assuming 18 for when the brand was founded, maybe 2018. I'm not too sure. Oh, that's the liner, isn't it? That jacket is not bad. That might be one of the hardest pieces in the collection. I'm not gonna lie. That slide is a win. With a little embroidery, with the pattern of embroidery of the Alcatraz logo. That looks fucking crazy. And of course there's that shirt with the rules of the world. Not mad at that, with the Scully on, and then that's it, right? Yeah. So big up Corteiz. Is a lot of it sold out? Let's see. Is most of it? Oh, there's the patchwork thing I was talking about, the black patchwork. Oh, yeah, this is one of the hardest pieces they've done, bro. That collar bolo down jacket is harder than hard. Classic plus bolo there. This what's that? Gorilla's fishtail parka isn't too shabby. The denim jacket is there as well. The tracksuit is there. Wow, surprisingly a lot of it's not sold out. Okay, I ain't mad at that. Also comes in green. The track pants available too, right? In all the colors. Okay, cool. Most of it's not sold out. So I wonder if that little rude back and forth has actually impacted sales. I doubt it, but a lot of it's still available. A lot of this black collection is still available. And they usually only do limited drops, right? What do they say here? 50% off, 100 plus items, 110 plus items in their solitary collection. Blackout collection now available. Free worldwide shipping on orders over 220. Free UK shipping for orders over 150. It's really good, to be fair. Most brands in the UK do 200 free shipping, so to do 150, that's a pretty decent little deal there. And that's sold out. The rugby sold out. Okay, so the rugby's definitely sold out in all the colors, right? Yeah, the rugby sold out in black because that black is the hardest. So the paneled rugby is definitely sold out. It's nice though. I ain't mad at that. And then what else we have here? Bada bing, bada boom. And then we got more long sleeves. And the Scully gone? No, the Scullies are there. The light, what they called? They called light worky caps. They're still available. $28 and shit. Yeah, it's pretty decent, man. Solid collection. Okay, some of the other stuff is available. Oh shit, the rest of it too. So I guess this is maybe end of year sales, right? This may be end of year sales. There's a bunch of other stuff available as well. But check it out anyway. Corteiz, was it CRTZ.XYZ? CRTZ.XYZ. Check them out. Stores open now. I think until the end of the week, I'm assuming, right? It's usually end of the week, I think, is when they close the store. But check it out. Loads of good stuff there to buy. I'm a big fan of Corteiz. I love it. I like what they do. I like what they do. Even if the founder can be sometimes a little bit, you know, a little bit unnecessarily rude, but I guess it is what it is. I guess it is what it is. What are you guys saying here in the stream chat about what I just spoke about? My girl had Dopamine Nation on the bookshelf. Great. Good to hear that. Big up on 10 toes. Big up Rick MB. I bumped into Kurt Kaz in Shoreditch today. Didn't know he was making racist and rage, but yeah, that guy's a bit of a dolly, knobhead, to be honest. It's unfortunate. He started off being pretty cool. And I don't know what happened. Maybe the views, I guess, were just too good to turn down, and now he's trying to lean into rage bait, racist kind of, you know, travel content. I don't know why he's doing that, because I think he's a really good travel vlogger away from all that sort of shit. I still remember watching his Rio carnival vlog, and that was fucking vibes. So to go from that to do what he's doing now, where he's kind of going to especially places in England and other places in Europe, he's purposely changing what they look like on a thumbnail to make it look like there's this, you know, influx of, like, you know, people from other cultures who are taking over and kind of stoking the fires of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia and all this malarkey. It's really bad. Big up Rick MB, big up Izanilla. A lot of brands you follow have their name in blazers all over their work. Don't you think it's kind of played out to cover the piece with blatant advertisement? I don't think all the brands I cover are like that, to be fair. Maybe it's just a streetwear thing, but I think a lot of fashion brands I cover don't have that. A lot of streetwear brands I also cover don't have that. I don't think it's a prerequisite, but I think it's an unfortunate nature of the industry, because a lot of the consumers who are purchasing this stuff are usually young kids. And young kids want stuff with their name, you know, they want the brand to be seen. They don't want to just wear something and the name brand not be clearly labeled, especially if you're a streetwear person. When I was coming up, that wasn't the case. You know, I remember when I was coming up, one of the things we used to look forward to in Supreme lookbooks was to find a piece in the Supreme lookbook that didn't have the obvious branding, that just maybe had that might have had just a tag, a little red tag on the seam, that if you know type of thing. But nowadays, unfortunately, because a lot of these brands are streetwear brands, you have to kind of, you know, market to the youth. If the youth want a pair of shorts that says Supreme written all across the backside, they're going to have to make it. And they're not going to make it with a tonal print. They're going to make it with a contrasting print. So it'll be like white text on black. I mean, that sort of thing. So it's the nature of the game, I guess, isn't it? Big up 730. The designs are pretty good. Yeah, Corteiz is one of the better ones. They're very consistent. I don't think they get enough credit that they deserve. Maybe a lot of it comes down because people don't really like Clint that much, but as a person, maybe. But I think they are one of the consistent brands out there. I don't think I've seen a bad drop collection from them. They just do their own thing. Not to talk about the sneaker collaborations. Like he's knocked them out of the park time and time again. And I think he does really great work at a really high level on a consistent basis. I see kids wearing it all the time. The replica fucking industry around Corteiz is huge as well, which I think is a good indicator of how your brand being good. Like, for instance, fucking Denim Tears. There's so many fake cotton reef sweats out there. That's a good indication that you create something good, create something great. So I think the fact that you see so many Reebok, Corteiz duffel bags and hats and t-shirts and whatever, I think is a sign that they've definitely captured something that people seem to enjoy. So big up Corteiz anyway. Big up Corteiz for what they do. Big up Corteiz for what they do. Next on the list, I saw this clip, right, courtesy of this guy called Mark Mastrandrea. Mark Mastrandrea. He's a person that has his brand called Iconic. I guess he's a startup guy. He interviewed George Heaton, one of the co-founders of Represent, again another prominent streetwear menswear label. I guess they probably relate. They probably categorize themselves mostly as kind of menswear or men's fashion, but you know, they do really great stuff as well. I think over the last few years they've definitely stepped up in terms of the level of quality. It definitely appeals to me more nowadays. I feel like they've kind of found their own voice, similar a bit to Matthew Buxton, whatever that brand was. Maybe they would have wanted to step it over that, but I think both of those brands, I think, started off copying a lot of brands beforehand. Maybe a lot more Fear of God stuff, a lot of Rick Owen stuff, you know, whatever, Drapey stuff, whatever. But I think over time they've slowly found their way and they've kind of found their voice. So I think Representative done that, and of course Buxton done that. And this George Heaton guy's obviously done really good because he's got his own personal brand that he kind of, you know, pushes out there in terms of what he gets up to. He's got that fitness brand that he's got 247 and whatever else on social. But I thought this clip was really fascinating because this is something that I, you know, have long fantasized about, right? In terms of the real lock-in, like the real, like if you're really operating on a high level of frequency, this is what a lock-in actually looks like. It sounds very toxic. It sounds very isolating, but maybe this is what it takes to really achieve things on the highest possible level. This is George Heaton talking.
No girlfriends, no going out, no television, no nothing. That's all I did. Train, work, read. During that time, from 2020 to 2024, where my business went from 7 million revenue to 95 million revenue, Jesus. All I did was read. All I did was literally go to work at 6 a.m., train, do the work, go home at 5, read for 3 hours, go to bed. Do the same thing for 4 years straight. I didn't let anything come in between me, my training, and my work. Nothing came in between. They were my priorities. My whole life is Represent. I needed to get to a point where, like, I felt good about myself.
So imagine that. Can you imagine living a life where all you do is work on what you want to work on, train to get your, you know, whatever, your body right, your mind right, and of course read to kind of feed your mind to kind of continue going on, giving you lessons and stuff, insights, ideas, whatever. Imagine what you could achieve in just a year. Forget 4 years. Imagine what you could achieve if you had zero distractions in that way, where you organize your life in a way where you avoid those things. Now the problem is practically real life. That means you're going to miss out on a bunch of weddings. You're going to miss out on a bunch of funerals. You're going to miss out on a bunch of gender reveals. You're going to miss out on a bunch of christenings. You're going to miss out on just a lot in a year. And the problem is something that I've realized as well. When I had that moment, I think just after I was like hanging out at Dawson and stuff, I purposely sort of like closed myself off to everybody. I kind of ran away a little bit and kind of, you know, did my own thing and wasn't really around the scene as much. What you realize is that, you know, especially when you purposely kind of step away, you realize quite quickly that you're not that important. You realize that you're not that important, and you realize that people soon is, you know, as soon as you maybe miss a couple of link ups, you stop replying to texts, you don't call people back when you should, people move on, and they move on, you know, with grace and whatever else. Other people come and kind of fill your spot, and people forget about you very, very quickly. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. So that can sometimes be the most hurtful thing. Logging onto Instagram and seeing the people that you used to hang out with, you know, living their best life, doing their things without you because you've decided to pull away from them and to focus on what you need to focus on. And, you know, missing out on that kind of connection, missing out on that community, missing out on that friendship, on that relationship, whatever, that can be kind of a hard pill to swallow. But you will obviously, if you stick with it and you're successful, you'll pay dividends, right? Because you'll be able to, you know, look back and say, oh my God, all that hard work that I put in was for something. But I guess the only thing is that worth it, you know? Because what is the point of getting to that finishing line if you really don't have anyone to share it with? If you really don't have anyone else to kind of experience it with? It's just, I mean, that's the only problem. But if your life is really about what you work, and your work is your life, and your life is your work, then maybe this is really what it takes to really achieve things on the highest level. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that what he said is what he said and the output is what you see. Because for somebody who's operating, because I think he mentioned on this particular pod, I've only listened to about half of it so far, but I think he says, like, in terms of revenue or whatever, they're making like triple digit millions, right? Fucking Represent. They have stores all around the world. Like, this guy is like doing very well. But if you see a lot of his stuff that he puts out on his kind of own personal brand side of things, there's a lot of stuff. He's working out a lot, he's traveling, he's doing this, he's doing that. And I guess to operate on that kind of level, you probably you can't afford to have a girlfriend. You can't afford to have a wife. You can't afford to have a husband. Like, you really can't. It's probably gonna be incredibly selfish of you to try and share your life with somebody as you're going pedal to the metal, as you're going balls to the wall, trying to make it happen with your dream. It's probably not the fairest thing to do, to be like, yeah, come, I want to share, because you're not going to be able to do the normal things like go on dates. You're not going to be able to do the normal things like go and visit people's parents or go and hang out with their friends or do double dates or whatever. You can't do that because you have to get t-shirts printed. You have to fucking talk to a factory about spring summer 2028 and shit. You don't really have time to do normal things. So it's sometimes, I think it's sometimes important, maybe I'm talking to myself about this sort of thing. I think it's sometimes important to kind of to see and to hear from people who operate on a really high level what it actually takes, like legit what it actually takes. Because a lot of people would look at someone like a George Heaton and they want their life, right? A lot of people look at George Heaton and say, oh my god, I want his life, he looks so fucking cool, he drives this great car, he's got this great fucking lifestyle. But what they don't understand is that in order to be this guy, you kind of have to be kind of lonely. You kind of have to isolate yourself. You kind of have to cut yourself up from the world. You don't really have a regular life. You can't go on vacations. You can't do festivals. You probably can't even celebrate your own birthday. You kind of just have to keep on going. But I'm not gonna lie, like, I kind of want to do this. I kind of do it anyway, right? In my own way, but not to that level. But I really kind of want to do this. I kind of want to, try and see what would happen if I did completely isolate myself from the outside world and just locked in a way that just, it kind of boggled the mind. It would really upset people, right? It would upset my family because I'd miss out on a bunch of shit. It would upset friends that I have because, I'd miss out on a bunch of shit that's important to them. And it would seem very selfish because I'd be prioritizing myself at all points. But in the end, the glory will be great. The glory is probably worth it. For me anyway, at least. I think the glory will be worth it because, again, I'm not really a big friend person anyway. But I think the glory will be worth it. But it does sound kind of crazy, to just lock into a point where it's just like, what do you say? It's just like, it's just working out, reading, and concentrating on your brand. Rinse and repeat. And I guess replace your brand with whatever you're doing now, whatever you're into. Replace working out, whatever else you're into. Do you know what I mean? But just those 3 pillars, nothing else is included. It seems kind of insane, but it does actually pay dividends and gets results. Because if you look at stuff like this, for instance, right? George Heaton posted this recently and said, if anyone's seen my beautifully minimalistic large wheelbase, I think LWB Range Rover around LA, it got stolen last week from my house at 5 a.m. whilst I was showering. Miss her already. Everyone would ask her what the wheels were, but I could never find them online, so it's quite unique. So allegedly recently, just the other day, somebody stole this guy's Range Rover. So he doesn't have many friends, it seems like, or maybe he does, I don't know. He seems to live a very isolated lifestyle where he's kind of fully focused on his brand. But this is the reward you get from it. This is the reward you get from just focusing on you and nobody else. You get to drive, a car that looks like this, which is a completely blacked out Range Rover. Very English, by the way. It's a very British car to drive out there in LA. I'd assume a lot of people that will drive these type of SUVs will probably want to drive a Lambo or something else, or maybe a Maybach, I don't know, whatever. But I do love that he's carried over some of his British roots over there to the States. Completely blacked out. The wheels are fucking incredible, though. By the way, I don't doubt that he got a lot of compliments for these wheels. These fucking grills or these rims, these wheels are fucking gorgeous. They're kind of like disc wheels. I don't have to describe them. They kind of look a bit similar to the wheels that they put on a Tesla Cybercab. Fucking incredible. Yeah, the whole thing is blacked out. Even the lights, even the plastic casing on it. Maybe it's translucent or something, but every part of that the car is just blacked out completely, which is fucking great. And it's all tinted as well, which you can do a lot more in the States than you can do here in the US. But unfortunately, that got stolen. So, that's one of the treats. That's one of the perks you get from cutting out every single person in your life. You get to be able to afford shit like this. But yeah, man, I saw that clip. I was like, you know what? It makes sense. It makes sense because the brand is popping. You know, the brand is fucking going ape shit. I feel like I see it everywhere nowadays. I feel like I see it. Let's see some new bits that just dropped recently. They've got different lines as well that they do. I think the pricing is also fairly decent too. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like even this, like this, you know, for like a brand. 180 for a hoodie is pretty decent. It's not, at least it's not charging, you know, 400 like Balenciaga for it. T-shirts are 100, again, a little bit pricey, but still I feel like they'd be good quality. Sherlin Trapper hat. Oh, this is a nice, I really like this actually. This is one of my favorite pieces. I don't mind this at all. I think it's one size as well. Maybe it won't fit my head. I don't think it'll fit my head. This model looks like he's got a way smaller head than me, and it already looks a bit small, you know. This model here looks like he's got a way smaller head than me, and it already looks a little bit small on him. I don't think that hat would fit my absolute massive dome. They say what the models, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, still, Represent do some good shit. Represent do some good shit. Check out Represent. Check out George Heaton. They do some good shit. They do some good blood clot shit. Moving on. Random topic to talk about here. Really random topic to talk about here. But big up DJ AG. Am I the only person, right? As much as I love DJ AG, am I the only person that kind of gets the feeling that DJ AG is a bit of a Karen at times? He's a little bit of a moaner. He's a little bit, dare I say, cringe on social media. This is a recent post he put up right the other day. The caption says, "The customer service at Ryanair we experienced today was disgusting." He's complaining about Ryanair on social media. Like, brother, it's Ryanair. Like, what do you expect? What is this? Like, I don't understand people that complain about, anyway, whatever. I will never travel with you again. Again, Ryanair don't give a fuck, right? They don't give a flying fuck. It's a cheap airline. It's priced the way it is because the airline is fucking shit. It gets you from A to B for most point. Everybody fucking, you know, puts up with the nonsense, puts up with the price increase in terms of jumping the queue and getting the preferred seat and all this nonsense. But it does what it says in the tin. If you want to get from A to B for cheap, it can do that for you. But to be complaining about them on social is pretty pathetic in a way. But I could be wrong. "I'll never travel with you again. Your staff are unnecessarily rude and threaten to not allow us to fly if the conversation we had was recorded. I have a care home to attend today. Otherwise the recording would have happened regardless. I don't want to let our elders down. On a side note, can anyone send me a backpack and a suitcase recommendations, please? My suitcase is broken. 2026 is when we need to take platforms to even more places." I don't know. I like DJ AG. I really do like this guy, but I feel like this is a very, very moist, very crybaby, very Karen-y type of a post, especially when you're complaining about Ryanair. Like, come on, man, give your head a wobble.
See Ryanair's customer service. Embarrassing, disgraceful. You need to train your people in terms of how to speak to people. We're all human beings, and the rudeness that we have just experienced is embarrassing. We'll do the full story another time, but for now, my people, I need some help. I need some recommendations for suitcases, for backpacks. Please tag all the people that you think, all the companies you think I should be looking at. So I need to upgrade because we're going to be traveling a lot next year. Let me know. Love.
I guess in order to be successful on social, you kind of have to have an ability to not be embarrassed, to not be embarrassed by yourself, to not cringe yourself out. But this is just ridiculous, man. It really fucking is. What's some of the comments saying? Do they agree with me or not? Someone says in the comments, "Come on, bro. I love you, but this is a little bit like shopping for steaks in pound shop and complaining about the quality." Exactly. Thank you. I thought I was the only person. Thank you. Another person says, "For air travel, your location to the airport with..." Okay, shut up. Another person says, "Sorry to hear this. Being a decent human costs absolutely nothing. Due for an upgrade, we got you," says Rock Luggage. Another person says, "Waiting for Ryanair admin to say something. Haven't used Ryanair in years. If they're the only people that fly there, I just won't go to that destination." That's real, by the way. That is so real. I haven't used Ryanair in ages. If they're the only people that fly there, I just won't go there. That is so fucking real. Another person says, "I haven't heard a good story about Ryanair in a long time, as I remember." Just look at the plane, bro. You can tell it's yellow. Look above him. Look above him. Look all the plastic above him, right? You can tell that it's yellowed compared to that, and how clean that is, or how new this is. This is all yellow. It's all been stained. from maybe years of smoking or whatever. It's fucking Ryanair. I told you this years ago, bro. I haven't flown with them over a decade. We don't fly Ryanair. Move up from them airlines. Too boasty to be flying Ryanair all now. What else is that person saying here? Am I the only person that's I think is a bit carrying? The worst part is that they don't really care. Exactly. Don't fly Ryan scared, as someone else says. Honestly, avoid Ryanair at all costs. The only budget thing about them is their service. Everything else is a rip-off. Also, Rimowa do some great cases. Yeah, Rimowa do great cases, but you're paying for the great case. You're paying. King Ash is the future. Okay, another person says, I wouldn't fly with them if they were the last option, that they have been awful for you to get. No one needs to travel to Europe via plane. That's just okay. Shut up. How else you gonna get there, you fucking idiot? You had one bad experience with a single crew and a single flight. That doesn't justify using your platform to label the entire airline as rude or unprofessional. That logic is the same flawed thinking behind any stereotype. Wow, this person's really calling him out. That logic is the same flawed thinking behind any stereotype, taking the actions of a few individuals and projecting it onto the entire group. When you have influence, you've got to be responsibility to be fair. One bad moment shouldn't turn it into you dragging thousands of workers, an entire brand. It just comes across as an ego, not accountability. Oh, I feel like he's calling me out as well for my hate for Palace. I had one bad interaction with somebody and I fucking hate the brand since then. I haven't been able to say a good thing about them. I feel like he's calling me out as well. That's very well put. Very fucking well put there. But I don't know. I just get the feeling he's being a little bit Karen-y, you know? Or he's got a bit of a Karen element about him, DJ AG. Love the guy. Still one of the best DJs out there. Very important person for the scene. But he needs to chill out. He needs to fucking relax. DJ AG needs to fucking relax. It's never that deep. It's never that deep. Continuing on, this is very deep because it's made me really consider how I'm going to approach my my social media presence, my propensity or sometimes need to DM or whatever, or reply or send out things, whatever. It's really made me really consider things because I saw this post and it made me think, you know what, this guy, right, Ben the Don, is a much better person than I am. Because I don't think I would have reacted in the way that he reacted to a particular thing. So let me tell you what you're seeing. This is a post on Twitter that I saw, courtesy of the account called Slime. And it says as follows in the caption: IG model shows DMs of Ben the Don DMing her years ago, but she only responded recently because he has a lot more fame now. So as you can tell by the caption, this guy called Ben the Don, who's a popular streamer nowadays, he's done a lot of stuff with Drake and Kai Cenat and whatever else it may be. He's kind of loosely associated with those guys. He also does comedy skits in the same sort of like style as a Drewski, all around funny guy, personable guy, popular guy on social media. He's obviously blown up a lot more in the last few years, and he somehow was able to get in contact again with this IG model that he must have been thirsting over in the past when he wasn't that well known. He must have tried to slide in the DMs, didn't get a good response, probably got no response. But now that his clout has gone up, now that he's a lot more famous, she now responded. And now they're on stream together. Now they're on a live stream together, right? And they're joking about this interaction. Me personally, I don't think I could do this sort of thing. But it has made me rethink the way that I approach DMs. So let me just play the clip so you can hear what they say.
I mean, yeah. So you want to do a video.
See, I like girls.
2 years ago. 2 years ago. And then I never checked the DMs.
And then why do you hit me back like, hey, y'all would love to do a video? 2 years later, the convo been over. What the fuck?
I love how
Ladies,
real it is.
stop DMing niggas back like they hit you up yesterday. Girl, I ain't that nigga from 2-3 years ago. This shit going on now.
You know why?
Fuck wrong with you, motherfucker.
Because most of the time I checked, it was on my OnlyFans. And when I check my DMs,
it's hard to check the DMs. It's a
Yeah.
lie. It's a lot of messages.
and then when I check his Instagram, I was like, he's funny, he's cute.
Ooh.
And then I was like, I would just respond back. I say, I'm down.
That funny niggas get them all the time.
And then I was like, I mean, mind me now. You want to make content? Laugh? I'm down.
I mean, yeah.
So I guess in her defense, she's trying to say that she just gets so many DMs being an attractive IG model that it's just hard to go through them, which I, don't doubt. and she just had some time, and it happened to coincide with the time that he is now more popular. And she decided to take a look, and she liked what she saw anyway. I don't think that's the case. I think she's lying through her teeth. I think she liked what she saw because he's way more popular now. Me personally, I'm getting to the point now, or I'm at the point now right away, where I'm like, you know what? I just think in general, as men out there, we just need to get back. We just need to take back control of our thirst. We need to take back control of our lust. We need to take back control of our urges and just stop DMing people. Just no more outbound DMs. You can reply to some if somebody sends you something and you like what you see and you want to respond back and continue that conversation, fair. But I think as men around the world, you should, from this day forward, you know, commit to sending no more unsolicited DMs. None. Zero. Whether it's sending a DM out to a club, whether it's sending a DM out to a prospective employer, whether you saw some girl and you liked how her flat her stomach was, no more DMs all 2025 or 2026. It's the great DM lock off. Not lock in, lock off. We are scratching it off the table. Because it'll be really funny for me, because I'm very, I guess I'm very like petty and I don't really forgive well. So if somebody like airs me in DMs like that, like I hold on to it. I'm not going to just get over it, right? I'm going to either remind you about it or I'm just going to engage to a point where then I can do it back to you. You know, that's the way I kind of rock with that, because I think it's just unnecessary to kind of leave people on scene when you've seen the message. We're all on our phones all the time. Either you reply in a timely manner, you know, 24 hours or whatever, 48 hours, or you just don't open it, but don't like do the whole, oh yeah, I see it and I'm not going to like, you know what I mean? Like I wrote words, you write something back. Anyway, or at least even double tap the comment. You know what I mean? Nowadays you can just, if you don't bother, you can double tap. You can send a voicemail, which I think is abusive, but still you can send a voicemail if you don't want to type. So I just don't think there's any excuse for just the non-response. But I do understand from her side of things, she's a very attractive young lady. She's gonna have a lot of people signing in her DMs wanting to fucking get in touch with her. But I just think in general it'll be kind of funny and interesting in a year's time to kind of go back through the inbox and start taking screenshots and start seeing the people that I may have reached out to a few years ago or whatever, and then seeing the jump like from like, I don't know, let's say from 2018, and then suddenly seeing somebody and be like, hey, back to you, because they've now realized that maybe you have some use, maybe you're more popular, maybe that you've got more money, whatever. But I just think in general, for me, when I saw this, and I think this is also relating a little bit to the Blackboy Max thing, where Blackboy Max was walking down the street and he bumped into some lady that was a part of America's Next Top Model, and she then told him, hey, do you want to kiss me in the cheek? He said no, and it turned into some big drama where that woman is now trying to sue Blackboy Max because she got basically rejected on live stream. She didn't like how it felt. And I was looking at that thinking, you know what, like, you know, I'm not really in the position of like rejecting people that often, to be honest, but if you are in that position, it's probably kind of nice, the feeling. It must feel pretty nice, because girls get to do that all the time. Girls probably don't react well to rejection because they don't really get rejected a lot as well. It doesn't matter what you look like. Most girls probably, you know, they're going to find at least one person out there that would be willing to, you know, do whatever with them. But I just think going forward as men, I think it's really powerful that we take back that type of ownership. Be like, you know what? No more outward fucking emails. No more outward DMs. No more outbound DMs reacting to first pics or stuff. Just leave it and then see what happens in the year, because things change all the time. Suddenly you become relevant, suddenly things pop up, suddenly suddenly your name starts to ring off, and then suddenly everyone's kind of wanting to suck your dick, which is also fun in its own sake. But I'm the type of person where in a year's time I'm gonna take a screenshot and share, and just kind of put one singular crying out, crying laughing emoji, be like, wow, look at how things have changed. I remember hitting you up in fucking 2018 and shit, and now all of a sudden, I'm getting a hey back. I'm getting the fucking side eyes. No. So yeah, big up Bender Don, big up Blood Clark Ben the fucking Don. We love to see it. Big up Mimi the music blogger. I want to read this as well because I thought this was kind of interesting, this article or this little thing that she was doing. So Mimi the music blogger posted this screenshot from an Instagram story taken from somebody called DJXHN Wave or WAV, DJXHN WAV, and the screenshot says as follows: I'm saying this clearly because I'm tired of watching the same thing happen again and again. These UK underground pages run by non-black people who are supposed to be guests in our culture keep stepping out of line, and it's a serious problem. Honestly, the UK's powers that be war with these pages is fucking hilarious. I really do find it funny. Maybe Bouncer was right about the shift in culture, the shift in balance, the shift in power. I think a lot of these people aren't really handling it too well. They're always complaining about this shit. Let's continue anyway. These underground pages run by non-black people who are supposed to be guests in our culture keep stepping out of line, and it's a serious problem. The first thing I'll say about that, there's not many prominent underground rap pages that are run by non-black people. I don't know if he means like JJ Finns in them, man, or if he means like, you know, Shade Barrow Jason pages, but I don't think there's many of those pages that are run by not black people. I get the feeling a lot of them are run by black people. So, I don't know, whatever. A page decided to post about Mimi and twist her words to push a narrative that never existed. And then people in the comments felt bold enough to call her a bitch. That level of disrespect doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from platforms creating an environment where black people, especially black women, get treated like they're fair game. Oh, shut up, man. People get treated like fair game on the internet because it's the internet. It's anonymous for the most part. You can say what you want. You can become very flagrant. You can become very rude, very aggressive in a way that you probably would never be in real life. It's not because she's a black woman or a protected class. Like, that's not the case. It's the case that people in general, maybe the anonymity is the real big reason, feel emboldened to kind of say shit that they would never say in person. It's the nature of the beast. This has been going on since forum days, since chat room days. It will probably never stop. This is an integral part of the internet. Like, honestly, if you put yourself out there, you have to kind of expect you're going to get some of this. It's just, it is what it is. Like, it's not big, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Maybe it's different when you're a woman. It kind of hurts a bit, but stings more when random people are calling you a bitch, calling you fat, calling you ugly, calling you big head, big nose. I get it. The names calling for women probably is hard to take, but I just think you just need to fucking, you know what I mean? Stiff up a lip it, you know? Become a bit stronger. I don't know. Not look at the comments as often. I don't know. Figure it out. But this is a part of the internet. It's never going to go away unless you want to run the internet like a police state, you know, which is have its own problems. It continues. Let's be real. Why artists Let's be real. Why artists move further in this industry? Because the system naturally works in their favor. What does that even mean? We've got an entire industry of like young black kids who are making money or making money, who live in their dreams, making music, traveling the country, traveling the world, and connecting with their fans doing it. I don't necessarily think you can fly the whole like black and white thing anymore. Like, maybe there are some industries, some genres where some artists can pop in a certain way if your image is a certain thing, but in general, I think there's a massive ecosystem, thriving ecosystem of young black kids who are doing bits, whether it's creating festivals, stations, pages, performing. Like, I don't buy this nonsense. I don't buy it at all. But let's continue. But every time a black person points it out, especially a black woman, the response is harassment, mockery, and hostility. Black voices get punished for being honest. A black woman carried the heaviest hit every single. Oh, this is so patronizing. I don't say patronizing. This is almost like he's sucking up a little bit to Mimi. Does this person actually believe what they're saying? Or is Mimi a close friend? Because what? Another one. I'm tired of seeing black people attacked for speaking on realities that we live and negative. I'm tired of seeing black people attacked for speaking on realities that we live and navigate daily. I'm especially tired of the pattern where black women get the most backlash, the most disrespect, and the least protection. Everyone else gets to discuss. Black women get tore down. What? I don't see this. I don't see this side of the internet. My side, I don't see this. I see everybody get ripped to pieces. I see everybody on my side of the internet get ripped to pieces because it's the fucking internet. If you're running a page in culture that isn't yours, the bare minimum is respect. You don't twist narratives. You don't weaponize your platform against black people. You don't let your comments turn into a place where people feel comfortable abusing black women. You don't take out from our culture and then disrespect the people who built it. This needs to stop now. A black woman and black women, especially deserve to speak without being attacked. So you want to create a safe space only for black women to talk to each other and not to what? I don't get this. If that makes certain pages uncomfortable, then they need to rethink why they're here, because not allowing this fuckery anymore. Anyway, I guess in response to this, Mimi wrote a Substack. Let's read the Substack because maybe I'm missing some context of what's going on here. Let's play a game. Blog pages showing their faces. Why won't you show yours? Let's read. The faces we know. Let's start with the accountability actually looks like in this scene. Graham Daly, we know Posty. His face is attached to every decision, every post, every move the platform makes. SBTV, we knew Jamal, RIP to an absolute GOAT. His face was a platform, his vision was transparent. Link Up TV, we know it's Rashid. You can find him, speak to him, hold him accountable. Made You Think, we know the face behind it. He put himself out there with their platform. She didn't say many nice things about him though. We know the face behind it. He put himself out there with their platform. That was the most like, that was like when Jadon Sancho left United, you know? No, Garnacho actually, right? Thank you to the club. Good luck in your future, like, you know? Anyways, continue. UKL, opinionated youth. We know who's behind the commentary, face visible, name attached, accountable. All these platforms, we know who's behind them, we know their faces. When Posty makes a call, it's his reputation on the line. When Rashid posts something, he owns it. When Bouncer, URN, opinionated youth gives commentary, they are not hiding behind anonymity. He's standing in his words. That's how it's supposed to work. You build on culture, you show your... No, you don't have to do that though. That's a nonsense, bro. That's a nonsense. You don't have to show your face. If you work a regular job, if you work in an industry where maybe it's not advantageous for you to show your face, if you just are not interested in having your face out there, I think it's entirely okay for you to build a page where you talk about the things that you're interested in without putting yourself out there, without making yourself a personal brand, without attaching your face to that thing, so you can live a normal, regular life, doing normal, regular things and not be bothered. Some people don't want that kind of fame. Some people don't mind having the fame online, where maybe you have people clicking and viewing what you're doing, but some people don't want that fame to carry over in their real life. They want to be able to live a normal life where they can kind of do normal things without the worry that fans are going to run up on them, people might step to them in real... I don't know. I think that's perfectly okay. Does that also create its own problems? Yes. But I think the alternative of like, if you have a page show your face is nonsense. It's a choice. If you want to be a personal brand and you have attached it to your brand, if you want to have your face be attached to your fucking platform, you can do that. If you don't have to. That's my personal opinion. The faces we don't see. Let's talk about the new wave of UK Underground blog pages, anonymous profiles, which I love, by the way. I love all of them. Big up TMC, big up UK Rap, big up UK Hip Hop, big up, who else I'm thinking of? There's quite a few of them I'm missing. But yeah, I'm a lover of all of them. They mostly post about black British artists, break black British talent, and shape narratives around I can't say it properly. They mostly post about black British artists, break black British talent, shape narratives around black British music, fashion and creativity. But ask who's actually running the page, silence. Why? If you love the scene so much, why don't you want to be known? Because I don't want to be known, Mimi. You want to be known. You've branded yourself Mimi the music blogger. It's clear what you want to do, what you want to be about, and it's working for her. Because I like what she puts out there, and her place and what she does is fucking great. But chastising people for not wanting to be anonymous is fucking insane. It really is fucking insane. Like, niggas want a police state. That's what they want. Like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is a fucking nonsense. If you're really contributing to the culture, why hide? Then it's not hiding. It's a choice not to show your face. It's not a hiding thing. It's not like, oh, because you show your face, you've got more courage, or you're to be celebrated because you decide to put your fucking government name out there. Some people just don't want to do that for whatever reason that they choose not to. It's a choice. You don't have to do it, but the idea that if you don't do it, if you don't show your face, you're somehow a coward or a pussy or something, is fucking ridiculous. Or that you're not really contributing to the culture, you're not really proud of your contribution. It's like, bruh, sorry, let's allow it. If you're so confident in your takes, your curation, your commentary, why not put your face to it? Troll culture dressed up as curation. Here's what's hiding your face allows troll culture with a glossy aesthetic. When you're anonymous, you can twist someone's words without facing them directly. People do it anyway. There's massive news platforms like Daily Mail that purposely twist people's names or twist people's words to fit their narrative. And you can find the person who wrote the article. You can find the person who wrote the fucking title of the fucking post. You can find out who owns the fucking place. You know where their fucking location is, the head office, HQ. People do that. People have been doing that since the beginning of time. This is not a new thing. So I don't think just because you put your face to it that you're suddenly going to avoid not shaping narratives and trying to push, you know, whatever. Come on, man. That's a nonsense. Create power loans without personal consequence. I think every platform should be allowed to talk about things the way they want to talk about things. If there are platforms out there that aren't big fans of what Mimi talks about, I think most of the hate that I think she's been getting lately has been because of the whole Drake and Kendrick beef, because she was on the Kendrick side, and there was a certain population of the Drake fans that didn't like some of her takes and got very vocal and passionate and rude or whatever else about it. But that's the internet, man. That's social media. You put yourself out there, you're gonna have to accept a part. This is the part of it. Part of it that is that you're gonna get. Part of it is that you're gonna get praise. Mimi the music blogger. Part of it is that you're gonna get Wale fucking quote tweeting your post and saying this is fucking great. Thank you for reviewing my fucking album. You know what you're fucking talking about, and that validation, that fucking look from Wale is fucking amazing. Part of also being out on social media and putting yourself out there is that you're going to get people calling you names, calling you very mean names, you know, in response to something you said just about music. It couldn't even be something you said personally. It could be something you just said about solely about music industry, and they can reply to you in a really bad way. That's just the way the industry, that's just the way the fucking internet works. Not the industry, the internet works. You have to kind of get over it. Build your platforms for the majority of black British culture while staying safe away from accountability. Accountability of what? What is this accountability nonsense? Say things you'd never say with your government name attached. That's the whole point, right? To be honest. Weaponize your comment section. Weaponize your comment section. You're not the one being named. Weaponize. I don't even know what that means. The same energy as gossip blogs and messy Twitter accounts just repackaged as underground culture commentary. The pioneers showed their faces. Jamal Edwards doesn't hide his. Posey doesn't hide. Rashid doesn't hide. Rooney, Risky Roads, Keefe didn't hide. So what are you scared of? No one's scared of any. I think you. Anyway, I'm not going to keep repeating what I said earlier. The pattern is clear. Look at the platforms we all gain to trust and respect. Grime Daily. Post, okay, the SBTV, Link Up TV, Made You Think, UKL. This is the standard. Now compare that to the new crop of anonymous UK blog pages profiting from black British music while refusing to show their faces. So if they all show their faces and they're all black, then what? Mimi the music blogger. Let's say all these anonymous blog pages that she thinks are white and are taken from the culture and don't deserve to have a voice. Imagine if they all reveal their faces and they're all black. And imagine if they're all women. Then what? All black women. Then what? Like, what is this nonsense? What are they bringing requires anonymity? What are they bringing that requires anonymity? It's not what are they bringing. It's just a choice to do so. And sometimes as well, I think if you have an anonymous platform, you can maybe afford to be a little bit more honest, a little bit more forthright, because there's not a face to it. Because we know how the UK scene is. The UK scene is very sensitive, very emotional. Just the other day, there's a clip of Young Ads that went viral where he's telling some live streamer that, yeah, one of my boys called me up one time and was like, hey, if you want to go beat up this other kid called Billy the Go because he didn't like your album, just let me know and I'll fuck him up for you. And I think that, to paraphrase what he said, and Young Ads is like kind of bragging that he's told the guy not to do it. Now stand down. He's kind of wanting a pat on the back for not getting one of his boys to go and beat up a streamer who didn't like his album. So the UK scene is very sensitive, very, very sensitive. I remember back in the day, was it Tiny? It must have been Tiny. Yeah, it was Tiny Temper. This is back in the day where it's working at 1948. I remember I reviewed Tiny Temper's album and said it was shit and it wasn't that good. You know, the guy doesn't make good music. It just is what it is. He's got that record for having the most albums sold and stuff, but I don't know, no one's playing Tiny Temper on their fucking barbecue. No one's playing that stuff in their car to this day. You know, he's definitely I'd say a legend in the scene for sure. But at the time when I reviewed it, I was like, yeah, this music is terrible. And I think Tiny Temper came to the fucking shop to buy something, and obviously his boy saw me and they tried to put it on me and stuff, right? Tried to step to me and whatever. Obviously it didn't go the way that they wanted it to go, because I wasn't going for it either. They weren't going for it either. I'm not saying they wasn't, but I remember just like, even from back then, you know, people have always been sensitive in this country to like criticism. Like mild, just saying you don't like something would get an artist to legitimately want to crash out in the wildest way for you here in the UK. I don't know why that's the case. I don't know why I don't know why we're so sensitive. Maybe it's because we're just a small island and the scene is kind of small, and there's a lot of there's not a lot of degrees of separation between a lot of us. Some of us know the same people. If we kind of, had to kind of jot it down, we'd kind of realize that, we might know some person, we might have a couple people that we have in common due to church, due to families, due to areas, whatever else it may be. But I feel like if you have an anonymous page, you get to maybe be a little bit more honest about your criticism when it comes to some of these artists, right? Some of the stuff that gets put out in the UK. I think that's an okay thing. We need a lot more of that, because a lot of our platforms are just PR machines for a lot of these big artists. They don't really criticize anything. They're not really honest with their reviews or with their whatever else impression of things, and it becomes a little bit weird where we have a scene where people don't really say the real, which I don't personally like. But anyway, let's continue. If you stand for the scene, stand in it. Again, this is kind of gaslighty. I'm not gonna lie, there's kind of a little bit of gaslighty manipulation shit going on here with this whole if you love the scene, show your face. No, I love the scene. That's why I'm running this page for free, essentially, right? None of these kids on social media are making loads of money running these pages, talking about fucking the next Lancey Foe record, talking about this person, Fumigero, this They're not making a bunch of money. They're doing it for the love. They're literally doing it for the love of the fucking game. So that is enough for me to know that they're standing with the culture. I don't need to see their faces. I don't need to see their fucking passports or their ID or see their fucking, what race they are, to know that they love the industry and they are helping these artists in a way that probably is not really talked about too often, that's what probably people should speak about. Maybe we should have more artists come out and say just how beneficial it is to have some of these underground pages, clipping their fucking IG live, taking a screenshot of something they said on Twitter and sharing it. It's actually helping them, they don't mind it. Whereas people like me and these people are like, oh, you're not showing your face. It's like, come on. Anyway, DJ XHN Wave said it clearly. I'm tired of watching the same thing happen again. These UK underground pages run by white people who are supposed to be guessing our culture keep stepping out and lying. Is serious problem. By the way, I want to know how many of these underground pages are run by white people. I bet you it's a lot less than you think. I think this is just an assumption thrown out there for the sake of it. It continues. Let's break down what stepping out of line actually means when you're hiding your face. A page decided to stop post about Mimi and twist her words, then let their comments turn into a space where people felt comfortable calling me a bitch. Bro, people are going to call you a bitch until the end of time. It's social media, bro. Trying to control how another platform's comment section talks to you is fucking insane. You can control your own comment section. You can block out certain words. You can delete certain comments. But telling another platform how they should moderate their comments is wild. Me personally, I'm a big believer in having the comment section or the replies completely open. Having it be a free-for-all. No fucking moderation or nothing. I want to hear what people are actually thinking and saying. That, I think, creates healthy dialogue. It creates a better community for the large part. And you get a better idea of what people are actually thinking, because they don't have any restrictions, right? They're not being told what they can and cannot say. They can either tiptoe around things. You get the real of what people actually think. And I think that's way more beneficial than just getting people sucking up to you because they don't want to have their comment deleted. She continues, could they do that if their faces were attached, if their real name was there, if they had to own the decision publicly, the way Posty Rashid Bouncer made you think you are and opinionated you own theirs? Not really, because some of those people still get criticism anyway for the stuff that they do. So there's no winning. It doesn't mean because you show your face that you're suddenly immune from criticism. Most of those people on that list that she named, they still get criticism for the way that they do their content, for the messages they put out there, for the things that they say, they don't do. So there's no winning. So if I have an option to not show them, if I could have an option from how I came out social to not have my face out there, I'd do the same thing too. Who would want to if you don't have to do it? Anyway, probably not, because anonymity enables cowardice. I guess it also enables honesty. It lets you create chaos without consequence. It lets you participate in troll culture while pretending you're doing cultural commentary, or it allows you to do cultural commentary in an honest way, really and truly. The double standard has a name, but only for some. Okay, I guess they're talking about Trapper or Ross here. Here's the thing. Platforms we respect have faces and names attached. When GRM Daily posts something, we can critique Posty directly. Oh, she keeps repeating the same way of like, you know, all the names again. You know who's behind URN and music. Even Trapper or Ross. That's how you build trust, and that's how you build legacy. That's how you build something that matters beyond the algorithm. But these anonymous pages, they all want the influence without any of the accountability. They don't want anything. They just want to share what they're into for the most part. The anonymous pages want to share what they're into. They want to provide a different page, a different outlook, a different tone, a different whatever. It's not all about just wanting to, you know what I mean? Like take. I don't know. I think TMC, right, the music connoisseur, showed his fucking analytics the other day. Didn't he say he even doesn't even make £1,000 for his fucking page, and he posts a bunch of shit. He's always on there posting. I don't think it's solely because you want to make money and get fucking rich. You're doing it because you love the game and you love the industry, you love the scene, and you want to just offer up something different. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But these anonymous pages, they all want the influence about the accountability. They want to shape the narrative around black artists, profit from black British culture, build an audience, a majority of black British creativity, and control what their story gets told and how. And while hiding their face is okay, meanwhile black women like Naz from Newham to fund me from her music room, to see Valentina and many more building their own platforms with their faces and names, reputation online, get targeted, threatened, and torn down. The pyramids can't be. Are they getting torn down because they're black women, or are they getting torn down because they're saying things online? Like, come on, man, let's be for real. Are people looking at Naz from Newham and thinking, oh yeah, I want to tear her down because she's a black woman? Or are they tearing her down because she's a very opinionated girl? She has a lot of really interesting, sometimes I guess fucking, I don't know, whatever, something that goes against the grain in terms of opinions, in terms of music. She's into a wide range of music as well. She covers stuff from, you know, outside of the typical stuff that maybe people are into in terms of genres. Like, I don't think it's anything surprising. Like, if you've got an opinion and you say it with your full chest, you're going to get people that are going to reply back and say, I disagree with you, with their full chest also. They might use some inflammatory words. They might use some mean words. It doesn't necessarily mean they're targeting you because you are a, you know, so blocking black woman and shit. I don't think that's the case. Maybe some of them do use those insults in their fucking replies, but I don't think the sole purpose for why they're disagreeing with you is because you're a black woman. They're disagreeing with you because they might be Drake fans, because they don't think the rapper that you said was the greatest is the greatest, because they disagree about that video, about that, about this, about that. It's just, there's a whole other set of reasons. But again, the internet does allow people to kind of say things maybe with a little bit more vim than they would say in real life, but that's how it, like, I don't know. Would you want someone to say the things that say to you on the internet in real life anyway? So some people that complain about that stuff, I don't understand. Would you actually want the comments to reflect how people talk in real life? Or is it much better that people say what they say on the internet and then they're usually nicer and more polite in real life? I prefer that personally, but I could be wrong. Why hiding your face matters. When Jamal Edwards RIP posted something on SBTV, he owned it. If it was brilliant, he got credit. If it was wrong, he faced the consequences. That's how real contribution works. Real contribution works by contributing, not because of whatever. I'm not gonna go. When opinionated gives his take, he's not hiding. His face is there. His reputation's on the line. That's what separates real commentary from anonymous trolling. This is not about race. You just made it about race, to be honest. But there's a clear pattern going on. This is not about race. This whole article's been about race. Come on, Mimi, man. When you hide your face while writing a blog page built on black British culture, you're saying, I want the influence, not the accountability. I want the profit, not the risk. I want to shape the culture, not stand on it. I want to critique black British people, but not be critiqued myself. The tale of two approaches. Let's compare the platforms we know. Anyway, I don't know, it's just too much of the same thing repeated, but you get the gist. She wants to see more pages show their faces, and she calls it cowardice if you are anonymous and don't show your face. I think it's incredibly narrow-minded to think that way. I think it's perfectly fine for people to dabble into content creation or to just share and to just document stuff that they're into with the wider world without having to put their face and name on it or government name. I think that's completely fine, especially in the music industry, especially in England, where people are incredibly sensitive about the art that they create, about the music that they create. I think it's entirely okay for you to decide not to want to be a public figure. I think it actually should be encouraged too.
There's enough people out there wanting to be fucking famous, wanting, you know, to have their face there, wanting to be all up in the fucking video. If there are kids who don't want to do that and just want to focus on pushing artists that they like, reporting on news the way that they want to report on news, and stuff happening in the culture and the scene, I think that's perfectly fine. It should be encouraged, if anything. It should be encouraged, if anything. But again, what do I know when it comes to this stuff? Absolutely nada. Absolutely nada. Yo, big up in, how do you say her name? Indria? Is it Indira Paganotto? Big up Indira Paganotto, right? I saw this post and I was wondering, and I was curious as to why this lady was like, you know, laughing and joking about it, because I think it's kind of embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie. You know, she seems cool and stuff, but I think the circumstances around all this stuff is kind of embarrassing. So this lady called Indira Paganotto posted this slide where she included a clip of her breaking her leg while she's DJing. Now you're asking me, why would the DJ break their leg when they're DJing? It's like there's nothing a DJ does that would require them, that would result in them breaking their leg, right? There's nothing, which makes sense. And if you listen to this kind of music she plays, I don't think there's a single, you know, thing that she does that would require you breaking your leg or would put you in a situation that would result in you breaking your leg. And it also made me think of just how unathletic some people are. The lack of sports, the lack of physical activity, because she did not jump from a high height. So she's playing, I'll show you the clip in a minute. She's playing a set wherever she is, and she jumps off of the stage down kind of towards where the fans are. But the stage is a bit higher, where the DJ booth is a bit higher than where the rail is, so it's kind of low to the ground. And just a little jump into that little bit between her booth and the fucking stage, she must have broke her leg in that particular gap there, which I think is kind of pathetic. Now, to give her a bit of, you know, benefit of the doubt, she could have been wearing really thick sole boots, and those are not meant to be, those are not the most stable things in the world. You know, she may have not had a lot of ankle support, so maybe when she dropped, her ankle kind of rolled. But I do think, similar to the video of Kid Cudi, remember when Kid Cudi broke his foot jumping off the stage on Coachella, and it's like the stage was like a minor I don't know what, like 3 feet, like and he broke his foot. I think that goes to show you that you need to get into the gym, you need to get stronger, you maybe need to improve your diet, I don't know, something, drink more milk, because breaking your foot from such a low height is kind of embarrassing. So let me play the clip for you. You'll probably hear a lot of really bad music, because this sort of stuff is not for me personally. But let's just click here the kind of stuff that she plays. Actually, let's read the caption. The caption says, Barcelona Warriors, what a final artcore showcase. I'm still shaking. I jumped off the stage to be with you and left the club with a broken leg, but I would do it 1,000 times again. No, you wouldn't. Be for real. No, you wouldn't. You gave me the greatest energy of my life. I wanted to give you everything back for the last dance of 2025. Now a little rest for your sigh mama. But 2026, we come stronger, louder, and even more united. I love you endlessly, my warrior family. Okay. A lot of parasocial things in there, but I don't mind it. Yeah, so not for me personally. That music fucking sucks. But let's go to the clip where she breaks her leg. It's coming up here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, there it is. There it is. There. So that does not look like this does not look like a high height, in my opinion. This looks like at most 3 feet. At most 3 feet. At most maybe 2.5 feet. She's jumping. The stage is actually higher. Where she's at, the booth is a little bit higher than where she's at now. She kind of climbs down and then she tries to jump in front of the fans in this little bit just in front of the fucking fence there, and she somehow breaks her leg there. It's like, this is kind of embarrassing. I wouldn't be laughing about this, to be fair. This is really, really embarrassing, and it's proof that you probably should get into the gym. Oof, there. That was all it took to break her leg. Also, you got to show us the uncensored version. If you're going to post a clip of you jumping down into the crowd, you got to post an uncensored version. You can't just make it go black. We've got to see you wincing. We've got to see you crying. We've got to see you rolling around on the floor, holding your leg. We've got to see the whole thing, you know, if you're going to post it. But I don't know. That's not a high. Maybe there's things there that I'm missing out on. Maybe there might be a little ditch there. Maybe, like I said, she rolled her ankle. Maybe she already had micro fractures on her fucking leg in the first place. But I just think this is incredibly embarrassing. It's up there with the Kid Cudi one. It's really up there with the Kid Cudi one where he broke his leg jumping from a minimal height. Like, that's fucking bad. Really but again, it makes sense, right? If you're a professional DJ, you probably don't have much time to go to the gym, apart from hotel gyms. If you make the effort, you're flying from place to place, you know, hotel room to hotel room, afters from afters. You probably just don't have time to look after yourself. But this lady doesn't look that old. She looks kind of like a young woman. I think you should probably try and get in the gym, because, you know, if you're that age and you're already breaking your bones just jumping from a 2-foot height, it's probably not the best sign in the world. There's a picture of her in the hospital. I think she looks like she's either embarrassed or she's actually, you know, crying. I'm not too sure if it's both. She got a cast on her leg, so the leg was actually legitimately broken. So yeah, I'm not, to be fair, maybe the boot was a problem, to be honest. That boot doesn't look like, it looks like it's a nice boot, but it doesn't look like a boot that you would have a lot of ankle stability, you know? It's a stacked sole. Maybe there wasn't a lot of ankle stability there to kind of hold her foot and shit when she dropped. I don't know. I still would be highly embarrassed to post this on social media, but everything nowadays is content. Yeah, she's kind of embarrassed by this particular clip. There's a little bit of embarrassment, I'd imagine, coming through on these particular pictures. I'm not too sure. But yeah, her foot is broken. But I don't know. There's not a single piece of music that I heard her play that would make me want to break my leg. You know, you go to certain people's parties or certain people's sets, you go see them playing clubs, and you're like, yeah, that person, how they play, that made me go crazy. I'd want to jump up. And I don't think there's a single thing that I've heard from this woman that would necessitate somebody breaking their leg, especially not her, you know, as a DJ. That just seems insane to me. But I'm glad she's on the mend, right? I'm glad to hear she's on the mend. Next and last thing to talk about is this. Big up Madam Joyce. Madam Joyce has consistently been somebody that I feel like has a lot of really bad takes and a lot of really good takes. And I think that's probably the nature of being a content creator or a public figure on social media. You have to be okay with maybe putting out some bad takes, mixing with your good takes. I think this might be one of her worst takes, and not for the reason that you're thinking. So the caption says, Madam Joyce says straight men don't belong in a DJ booth. She claims the booth is for the girls and men need to move around. All right, let's play the clip, because this angered a bunch of people. Let's play the clip.
Enough to you to touch. Can I just say something? I want to add something to the DJ X. I don't feel like men should be allowed in the DJ booth.
No, I don't mind.
No, I mind.
Girls, boys, anything.
If you are a guy, I think the DJ booth should be for the girls. Unless you're one of the gays, then of course you could come to the DJ booth and pop some. If you are a straight man, if you are a straight masculine man, what are you doing in the DJ booth? Bare man in the DJ booth. Girl,
I don't mind it. As long as you're just not touching me. Like, I don't mind. Anyone come to my DJ booth. It's welcome to.
No.
He said, So I said, if I'm there, that's the girls.
Because it's like, there's been a conversation on the internet where it's like, the guys are at the front of the stage.
Yeah.
The man them at the front of the stage. At one point in life, it was the girl. We want to see beautiful women.
Yeah, no, I love
whining and popping. Like remember the night Obi's house,
yeah,
where girls came and Tyler was at the front. She went to the front of the DJ booth and she was like, pop, pop, pop,
yeah,
That's what we want to see. Like if I was an audience member, I want to see that and be like, yeah, that's the view. If you are a guy, I don't feel an appeal to see you at the front of the DJ deck doing all of this.
I don't mind it.
Sorry.
I have 5 brothers. So
Do you actually?
Yeah, so I'm very used to like boys and 1 sister, yeah.
You got 5 bros.
Yeah.
You don't give me the type of girl that, I mean, you're close enough to you to touch. Can I just say something?
So, she makes a lot of good points. I'm not going to lie, overall. But I'd have to say my reason for disagreeing her will be the following, or disagreeing what she's saying will be the following. I think what we need is more balance in the booth. I'm not going to lie.
I think we need more balance, right? I've seen DJ sets, specifically the people I can think of is Kind of Music crew. Big up Kind of Music, you know I love you guys, but you know, they tend to maybe prioritize having a lot of like under 25 European girls in and around them in the DJ booth, which I don't blame them for, right? If I was a professional DJ on their level, I'd probably be flying out a bunch of Uruguayans and, you know, Swiss girls and Scandinavian girls to stand behind me in the booth too. I'd probably be doing it, right? Maybe mix them up with a couple of blacks, but hey, whatever, right? They do that. But I think what I prefer to see is more balance. You know, I want to see a bit more balance in these DJ booths. In an ideal world, I would prefer it if the only person that was in the DJ booth is, guess what? The fucking DJ. In an ideal world, if I could choose, if I could somehow be in charge of what happened in the world and stuff and dictating it to my needs and my wants, I would prefer to live in a world where the DJ booth was just for the DJ, nobody else. I feel like the DJ booth turning into the new VIP room, the DJ booth turning into an extension of the green room, right, has made clubbing worse, because people, instead of them focusing on dancing and having a great time and going crazy on the dance floor, whenever they look up at the DJ booth, part of their mind thinks, I wish I was up there, because there's some person that looks like them, that's probably the same age as them, whatever else it may be, up there doing their thing. And they're like, oh, it must be so cool to be up there. No, you know, from my experience of being out a few times and being in my fair share of DJ booths, I can tell you with a high level of degree of certainty that it's not as good as you think it is. It isn't that great up there in the DJ booth. It's actually way funner to be on the dance floor than it is to be in the DJ booth. But you wouldn't know that unless you experience being in the DJ booth when you're not playing and being behind your favorite DJ or just someone that's playing in the first place. But it's very overrated. The vibes are always on the dance floor. Think of all the best raving moments you've had in your life. Think of all the great stories you've had, you know, on the DJ booth. Think of all the connections you've made. Think of all the people you fell in love with, fell out in love with, had a fucking great dance battle with. It's all happened in the fucking dance floor. Has happened in the booth. You don't really get many, you know, memorable experiences from the booth. Yeah, you might be able to slip a couple free drinks here and there. Yeah, you might be able to fucking take a cheeky line behind the booth by ducking down somewhere. Cool. Maybe you might get to sit down because there's maybe a bench at the back there to chill. But overall, the fun is to be had on the dance floor, not in the fucking DJ booth. But nowadays, because DJ booth has been elevated to this point where people want to be there to be seen, I don't blame people for like trying to flood there. I don't blame the man then for trying to pose and get up there also, because it's a place to be seen. It's where to get the clout. It's where you want to position yourself. You want to get, especially nowadays where most sets are being recorded and filmed and shared on social media. If you're in a booth behind a big DJ somewhere, that could really help your fucking algo. That could probably help your fucking engagement. That could probably help your follower count. That might be able to help you land you a fucking cheeky brand deal. Maybe get a guest list at another club somewhere. Maybe get you a follow back from your favorite DJ. I don't know. It can work. But I think in general, I would much prefer to live in a world personally where most people would just stay on the dance floor and leave their booth for the fucking DJs. I think it's just a better way to go. But if we're going to have people all up in the DJ booth, then let's have everybody there. Let's not just have the girls and the fucking, let's have everybody in there, because it is getting a little bit annoying to see the same kind of personalities and faces in the DJ booth. Because, you know, women as well, let's be real, the women that are in the DJ booth, they're not there to kind of support the DJ. They want to be seen for their own right. Some of them will even, you know, put their hands over the decks and shit. Like, they really are main character energy. So it's not like the girls are up there fucking, you know, having a good time. They're trying to be the center of attention as well, which should always be the DJ or the music, let's say, and less so the fucking people in and around who are trying to fucking clout chase and shit. But a really interesting point, because I think when I get to the point where I'm a professional DJ, I'm gonna be very counterintuitive, right? I'm gonna do the opposite. When I become a professional DJ, I'm gonna get all the mandem in the booth. You know, all the mandem are gonna be in the booth when I become a professional DJ. Forget flying out fucking, you know, whatever, these young girls from social media or whatever else it may be, or these fucking, you know, TikTok techno influencers and stuff. Fuck that. I'm getting all the mandem in the booth, right? I'm gonna make it mandem central. Gonna turn it into like a fucking youth club. Remember back in the day when you had youth clubs and like your boys would be DJing in the corner, just be you guys playing to each other and clearing the room. All the girls would be leaving because you're just playing all aggressive fucking boy music.
That's my vibe. But just the opposite. It'll be like all the men them in the fucking booth, but I'm playing music for the whole entire room. You know, that's what I would fucking do. But I guess everyone's different. I guess everyone is different. Anyways, my friends, that has been the Agostinho Zinga Show, episode number 977. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. Thank you for tuning into this illustrious cultural commentary podcast. It's been a pleasure, never a chore. If it's your first time tuning in and checking me out, please make sure that you like the stream. If you're listening to this via the audio podcast, please make sure you leave me a 5-star review and share the show with your friends. All that would be greatly appreciated. Timestamps will be added after, and I'll see the rest of you guys later for a random show, which is coming up in about 5 minutes. For those of you who are listening via the audio side of the podcast, you will be listening to my song of the day. My song of the day will be a random section taken from the latest DJ Kicks presented by DJ Eris Drew. I've been playing in the gym recently. I fucking loved it. I recommend you check it out. DJ Eris Drew, DJ Kicks will be randomly playing a portion of that as the outro of this particular pod. Thank you for playing. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you for playing the stuff that I do or whatever else it may be in the background. And I'll see the rest of you guys later for the random show. But for everybody else, take care, be well, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. But for now, thank you for tuning in and peace out.